No. I and
No.
we're live. The Redeye Stream number 114. The BBC knows nothing about free speech. So, I went looking for the Day for Freedom protest, an article about it, because it's the day after, and I figured the BBC would have a left-leaning article, but they would at least talk about it. But no, it was nothing but tumbleweeds. I even searched in the local section of BBC News. I looked up London, the Greater London area. All I could find, you guys told me that you found a Guardian article. I found one from the Daily Standard. And that's about
Oh,
it.
I tell
It's
you what.
absolute crickets
Ah,
about this protest, and the
go.
protest was nonviolent. I saw thousands of people, at least in the live feeds I was watching. Antifa was
Oh,
even
there was a
there with a
lot
bunch
of
of
people.
mopeds. Like Antifa had mopeds blocking a street as if you can't walk around some mopeds. Shit was fucking funny, but it wasn't necessarily violent, and it definitely wasn't necessarily alt right or far right. However they want to drape this in. Well, okay, so Cabbage, what say you? You're an Englishman. Isn't it sad when the BBC won't even comment on an event like this, but a couple
Yeah,
purple-haired chicks go marching and everybody's talking about it?
absolutely. It is a disgrace. Although you will find it on the BBC. You probably just have to look up, like, say, Tommy Robinson. They're not going to use the terms that you're using because that would actually be useful, right? So they buried it under a different title. If you look up Tommy Robinson, you'll see that they must put up something about him with regards to that because everything is alt right, everything is Nazi, whatever. Although having said that, I've got to say, I mean, yes, the crowd was massive, but it was. I mean, you talk about diversity. There was diversity. There were people who were there who were skinheads and total nutters. But there's also a lot of people who just want to get their country back again. The people who, the people who voted Brexit, who were sick and tired of the Remainers trying to undermine, the process. There's a
Oh,
lot of very pissed off people,
yeah,
and that's why
no,
you saw that crowd. It
Cabbage, and
was an enormous crowd,
not to cut you off
massive.
either, but I want to bring up this. UKIP has pretty much fallen off the map. But you know what I
Yeah.
saw yesterday? I saw a bunch of UKIP flags and at least hundreds of UKIP members in that march. And I was kind of shocked by that. I'm like, yeah, UKIP's still a thing.
Yeah,
But
but that's the thing. Yeah, yeah, but it is. Of course it is. It's only because just because the media says it isn't a thing doesn't mean it isn't a thing. I mean, if anyone actually wanted to reinvigorate it, it would be back where it was. The problem is, and this is one of the problems I have with things like common sense when he's talking about new parties and things like that. It's almost like we go back to identity politics, but turn it into policy, into parties. It's dangerous. Um, but if UKIP ever, like declared itself again, uh, especially, with regards to the referendum and the attempts they're making to overturn it, yeah, they could they could reappear overnight. I mean, they appeared overnight in relative terms, last time. So they are not to be written off. You can't trust the BBC to provide you with one single piece of valid information. It's hideous. It really is. People think RT is, the Russian news channel. Well, the BBC is a joke.
Nope,
well,
that would never happen. I'm sorry to cut you off, MD, but is my screen sharing right now? Are we seeing the actual Guardian where it was labeled under and everything?
yeah,
There you go.
Okay.
and I
So it
put
was
this
Yeah.
to you
labeled
to
under,
everybody. So
yeah, I was labeled under
Yeah.
the far right here. And according to this article,
See.
thousands march in free speech with single
Yeah.
quotations protests led by right-wing figures. Rally follows ban of former EDL leader Tommy Robinson from Twitter over hateful conduct. To be fair, they did also use single quotes there as well. We're here to defend our freedom of speech. There's a military-looking dude and some fatigues. And quick overview of the article here. Thousands marched through London under the banner of free speech on Sunday after Tommy Robertson, a former leader of the far-right English Defence League, was permanently banned from Twitter. Protests flying national flags and holding placards decrying limits to free expression rallied at Whitehall after marching through central London from Speaker's Corner and Hyde Park, a location seen as emblematic of free speech that has been the scene of several recent far-right rallies. Robbins called for the demonstration last week in response to Twitter's decision to ban him for hateful conduct, full quotations, after he posted a message saying, full quotations, Islam promotes killing people, full quotation, end mark. Well, that is a bit harsh, but, oh my God, infinity, but, yeah.
You see what I mean, though, right? It's buried under a different bunch of, you can't just go and find it just by a simple search. You have to go looking for it because they're not willing to make it easy.
Well, no, and that's what made me mad. That's why I titled today's stream the way I did. The BBC should have had that right there on the front fucking page. Even if it's just one article, it should have been there. But no, you know, we will be all for the women's marches. We'll be all for whatever protest the left is doing. You know, how, you know, the Remainers, you know, if they...
No, the BBC is lost, mate. The BBC is lost. It's gone. I mean, you know, any idea that the BBC is in any way, shape or form independent or providing its, you know, fourth column or fourth estate, you know, responsibilities is long gone. If it ever existed to begin with.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello, Jensen.
Hello, Jensen.
So, Jensen, I asked you to join us because I really want to hear your thoughts on this as well. And, like, so seriously, BBC is pretty much silent on the speech yesterday. I saw some of the speeches, not all. I'll have to go back and finish that. But from what I did see, I didn't see any inflammatory speech at all. I didn't hear a call to arms. I didn't hear, you know, damn the Queen. I didn't hear let's go fucking kill all the muzzies. None of that happened. Why can't they just report on this like common sense?
Quite simply because the BBC is slightly less trustable than the average Muslim immigrant. To put it bluntly, they falsify so much, and you can see the bias when you watch their reporting. It's positively painful to watch, in my opinion.
Back in A, mate. You're right. It is. I mean, it is cringeworthy, and what makes me really annoyed is that we are meant to watch that and think that that is anything relating to our. Maybe it is in that little, you know, London borough or something, but it has no relevance outside. And we're meant to just, you know, choke it down. No, sorry.
I have a real question for you Englishmen. Okay, here in America we have Fox News as supposedly right-leaning. All right, I would argue that after they got rid of the likes of Glenn Beck and all sorts of other people, you know, O'Reilly, they kicked him out of there. But whatever.
Yeah, but that was for different reasons.
Yeah, true. But what do you have in the UK when it comes to anything that remotely leans to the right? Do you have a news station at all? Do you?
No,
not really. No.
Sky News, I thought.
No, Sky. No, that's a weird thing, right? Because that's a Murdoch product too. You'd think that it would be, but it isn't. No, it's still the same diatribe.
Is it more rightish than the other ones?
Yeah, relatively, yes.
So it's relatively your Fox News.
Memes. No, because that's like saying CNN is more to the right than MSNBC, therefore that's conservative news. I beg to differ.
Yeah.
Well, isn't everything relative? As a wise Jew once said.
But I think, yeah, but that's the point. Yeah, memes, I mean, yes, I mean, in terms of if you were going to have an equivalence, that would have to be at Sky News.
Well, is it like comparable to the Daily Mail?
Well, the Daily Mail is an interesting thing in and of itself.
well, here's the interesting thing I just noticed, MC. It seems like the more traditional the form, the more conservative it tends to be, or at least the relative comparison. But as you start to get into television, it's like, all right,
Oh,
it's a bit more kind of left. And then as soon
memes.
as you get into the internet, it's even more. Or am I wrong?
Memes, the point is, we don't have any real right-leaning media in this country. We don't. I mean, like, in terms of on the terrestrial TV, if you want to find anything, why do you think people are looking out for, you know, Milo, or, you know, going out and finding Joe Rogan or Stephen Crowder and things like that? I mean, the British people are the ones who are, you know, seeking this stuff because we can't find it on our own shores.
How hard is it to start a news company over there then? Because isn't there a market for this? Why doesn't Tommy Robinson start a fucking news company or something?
Oh, he has. He already has. Yeah, he's doing the same thing as Alex Jones. I mean, that's one of his projects that he has. So he is doing it. But the thing is, you gotta recognize it's about scale, right? And unfortunately, trying to get the amount of money you need to, you know, to put something together is very significant.
Yeah, I think the problem with that philosophy is you got to get enough capital in these areas to try and put that something through. And
yeah,
even
and
then,
see, it's like the chicken and the egg situation, right? It's chicken and egg. You know, you can't make the chicken without making the egg, but how do you get the people to believe in the chicken before you've even made the egg?
In order to do that, you would have to set up. You would have to set it up, and then you would have to get audience. You'd have to gain audience, and to do that can be quite daunting. How many different companies in the United States? I mean, people forget in the United States when it came to television. All right, once a lot of the regulations were pulled down, a lot of independent stations attempted to start up. How many actually made it? You know, I mean. WB, you know.
No, that's a really good point. That's a really good point.
Well, it's the old idea of eyeballs. You've got to get the eyeballs.
Well, yeah, because Glenn Beck got a giant contract from Fox News. We're talking $35-40 million. He then got to leave with that money, and he is now going broke trying to run the Blaze. And he's even tried to get it onto satellite TV, and they won't allow him in.
Well, if he is, I'm sorry, but if he's going broke, he isn't going broke. Maybe his business is going broke. He is not going broke.
Because remember, Donald Trump never went bankrupt. Freaking, what was it? His companies went bankrupt. But as far as Glenn Beck goes, his problem wasn't viewership or anything. His numbers were still phenomenal. The problem was all the advertisers left. Like, literally all you would see was be like a advertisement for Roslyn Capital Gold, or like something AARP, or like a Fallout Shelter or something like that.
I would argue that his radio show is keeping the Blaze afloat right now. And I would argue that's because his radio show has stuck to politics, and he took the Blaze down a completely different road. I used to be a subscriber to the Blaze, and then he went ultra Mormon, and now he's doing like religious fucking shit all over it. No thanks, I'll pass.
Well, I mean, that could be a niche that he's successful at. But if you do something like that and you change your demographic that you're trying to reach, well, then of course you're going to end up with problems, because you don't have a core demographic if you throw it away.
But that's the thing, though. But Glenn Beck has a core demographic. They're the people who left, to watch him after Fox. So he actually has a core demographic.
What said was he threw them away to go for a different dynamic.
I thought you said who let the dogs out.
No.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why my wife has that. Oh, maybe she's choosing a new ringtone. I don't fucking know. But, I want to get this back around to the rally in a way. And don't you have the viewership right there? They're marching in plain sight and being ignored. How long can you ignore this English demographic of England in favor of an influx of new people? It's not going to work.
They ignored 1 million people on the Million Man March, right? They tried to, but just, I mean, even if you do recognize it, they just.
How many people voted for Brexit?
I think it was, it was a majority. Well, we got what was it? 40. It was 52 to 48. So it was.
I think England is in an identity crisis, and I think they're losing themselves for this.
No, Will. No, that's the thing. No, Britons don't have an identity crisis. Though an identity is being forced upon people that they don't recognize. That's a big difference.
Wasn't it confusing people?
Yes, it's creating this schism that we're experiencing.
Well, Cabbage and JQ, I have a question for our British chaps here. I think the appropriate question may be, what is the critical mass to cause one to get off one's ass?
That's a bloody good question.
Yeah,
it really is.
It really is. Yeah.
Oh,
we
dear.
both said the same thing at the same time, Jensen. Because it really is.
If that is not proof right there. Yes, unfortunately, the British people have kind of given up, and that is so fucking disappointing. I cannot begin to. I can't describe
it
how
doesn't
much
sound very British.
Actually,
it really does. Yeah, but the thing is, that there is an I don't know, how much does it take? What was the American Revolution? That was 6%, something like that, the population. Who knows? I mean, change can happen from very small, numbers of people with a commitment. If they're really committed to something, it's amazing what the changes can be.
Because I actually have made an observation, and I don't have the statistics, but I heard some statistics. And again, my universal truth is number 8 is 80% of statistics are BS, but there sure are a lot of Brits on YouTube, man, and interacting actively, dude. And just like that is something I have noticed. And I'm just like, well, there's a lot of folks in there, and an English-speaking nation, but it just really does seem to be a larger sample than I would normally think.
Yes, but that's the point, because you can't take the press, because this is the weird manipulation of the perception. We are. I mean, hell, I talk to more Americans than I do British people these days. And of course, every chat room needs a token Brit. You got to have a token.
Well, no, and also looking at that rally, there was a lot of ex-Muslims, and I would even say some current Muslims that were attending not only the march, but I saw some footage of one guy trying to get his speech read by Tommy Robinson, and he was a Muslim gentleman. Now, he wanted to read it himself at first, but due to security, they weren't going to let him pass. And so they took his speech, and I saw the lady go looking for Tommy Robinson to see if he'd read it out loud.
Wait, hold on, MD. I believe the thing is, he was planning on giving it. He then chose, perhaps for his own safety's sake, to not personally read it, and they were going to have someone else go in his stead, but that they couldn't guarantee that security.
No.
I just want to make sure that's how I had heard it pre Redeye.
No, I seem to remember this one, and it's actually not it's not a Muslim, it's not an Islamist. It's somebody who's a Sikh or a Hindu. It's a guy with the headband on.
So did he want a proxy, or was he looking for a proxy? Or did he already have a proxy?
I think it was a proxy.
And that proxy was not able to pass security. That's what I had heard. Yeah.
It's actually a guy who talks at Speaker's Corner fairly regularly. There's a girl called Jonah who interviewed him. And he handed the speech. But he wasn't a Muslim. He was a Sikh. He was either a Sikh or a Hindu.
Okay, I apologize then. I didn't mean to misrepresent his culture or whatever, religion. Yeah. My bad. I'm just saying there was diversity was the point I was trying to make.
If I may butt in just for a sec, based on your question on how many British would it take, funny enough, it will only take one. The problem is we don't actually have a leader for the full changes to actually happen.
Well, you had a leader. His name was Guy Fawkes, and you guys tortured him. All right, this shit.
He was a Jesuit.
He died how long ago?
What's
I-
the kind of
the
The
Jets
situation that they're having a problem with is now, not from the 1400s.
Come on, that was
Mad
a good
Dog.
joke, you asshole. Fuck you guys.
Mad Dodge, you know, I agree with his principles, but not his reasoning.
And that's a lot of gunpowder.
So
Just
you
throwing it
got-
out there.
So you got the ethos, but not the logos.
Yes. Yeah. You know, I mean, the concept was sound, but the reason, the justification was flawed.
And I know it's a
So-
current problem, MC. I was trying to crack a fucking joke, a Guy Fawkes joke,
Yeah.
even. But
Well, no. There's
really
a guy
is something
that
wrong with your
seems like
country.
Google.
That's why I keep thinking of Guy Fawkes, because of V for Vendetta and The Mask. There really seems to be something wrong with your country, and sooner or later, you guys need to stand
Oh, there
up.
is.
I don't know how
No,
else
there
to
is,
say it.
absolutely. No, it will happen, and unfortunately, and this is the problem, that the British tend to be too fucking willing, to be reasonable. And then eventually there will be a straw that breaks the camel's back, and it will get nasty.
That's the thing with the British.
And
We let a lot go, but if, like Cabby says, when we snap, that's when it's going to get very, very fucking bloody on the street.
well, very,
but it-
very quickly.
Yeah, but it's not going to go your way because of the influx of refugees and the influx
Oh no,
of all the
Trust me.
problems
Yeah,
that
but-
you're importing in. You're going to be a minority in your own country. You almost already are.
No, when I say when it snaps, I'm talking like the Toll Puddle Martyr kind of thing. You know,
And what are they going to? And what are they going to do? Right? What are the British military going to do? Especially considering that they're out there trying to punish that frickin' drill sergeant for calling a girl saying you don't have what it takes to kill somebody, you're not a killer, and she's busy
I saw
crying,
that. The
and now they're
girl's
trying to
screaming.
prosecute him.
That was in the UK.
Yes.
Oh, that was
I heard about it.
embarrassing.
Wait.
Yeah.
Hold on. So what you guys are saying is a drill instructor got in trouble for doing their job.
Yes.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Well, that doesn't sound right.
No, it doesn't. But then again, what the fuck? What the fuck's meant to make sense?
Okay, no.
These
Here's
days.
the
Come on.
problem. As soon as you try to start putting a chink in the military, dude, that's a problem.
Just a second. We have an update from the chat. Loafer says the guy not permitted to speak failed to attend the health and safety meeting prior to the assembly. He is a Muslim. So, yeah, thank you, Loafer, for validating, because I thought he was a Muslim. In the way in the way he was talking and what he was. I don't know.
Oh, praise the HR department. There we go.
Well, and the fact that he didn't accept the bacon sandwiches.
We got protected. Fuck. What the hell are you doing? Stop manning your
sorry.
plates, you
I was
shit.
trying to make pizza. Oh, and by the way, you should
stop
always
it.
have a second choice for lunch.
Are they pizza rolls? No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
Gavin's been fucking with me about pizza rolls.
No, reheating Domino's. God.
Well,
No, just
pizza
eat
rolls
cold
or
pizza.
nuggets.
What's wrong with you?
No, you
But
put
no.
that shit in the oven. It tastes good.
But I mean, seriously, guys, it seems to me that the way things are going, you are going to be a minority in your own country. And that's a big problem. England is not America. America has been a melting pot since the beginning. It was kind of forced to be, considering there was already native inhabitants here when we got here. So, and we're all immigrants in America. So we were always a melting pot. But England is not.
MC, that's one of the really interesting things that they had, you know, because they wanted to prove that England was, you know, like the mutt of, you know, Europe or whatever. And the one thing that they really couldn't find was that, you know, when they looked for the Viking traits and things like that, they were in certain areas and whatever, you know, but it was actually the dominant gene is still, you know, Celtic. It's still, you know, like pre-Roman. And they don't like that. You know, because apparently there's still some indigenous population.
But that's what I mean, is England started off English, okay? Or Celtic, whatever you want to call it. But it's not a melting pot like the United States. And it never really has been until now. And now they're not even melting into the society. They're breaking away and creating their own laws and cutting off whole segments of London.
Yeah.
They're not joining the population and becoming English.
But there's a reason for that, and that is because, and I'm going to be really blunt, and I know a lot of people just harass me about, okay, that's just you, banging on the left. But the left doesn't want that. In order for the left to succeed, they've got to destroy the current frickin' social dynamics, which is why they try to do this, which is why they keep promoting this kind of activity. They claim they want diversity. They don't want that. They want diversity of thought to the point where it destroys the societal fabric around them. That's the kind of diversity that they're looking for, and that's why. Because that allows them to play identity politics, to gain power, and then sit up there and try and reform society in the image they think is best.
MC, right? I mean, you can see this with the way they want to divide everyone up into so many different categories, right? I mean, everyone has to be part of some kind of subgroup, subgroup. You know what I mean? They have to. It's like the infinite calculation. You are not allowed to actually have an identity. You have to be part of something else.
But Cabbage, just do the math right. Extrapolate it all the way. Fully implement the idea. And where do we go?
Exactly. Then you end up with individuality, which is what Jordan Peterson said.
Just play the game.
I mean, but the thing is that these fuckers
folks to the game
to do extrapolation.
Hold them to the rules. It's like playing D&D. If you want to extrapolate, if you want to show how you critical hit and destroyed that boss, like ahead of the DM's thoughts, extrapolate, pull out the goddamn manual, and go down to a T. The DM.
Hold on.
Got my monster manual, mate.
Yeah. The problem with that means is that you've got to sit up there and hold people accountable to a structure or rules, and that's what the left is trying to wipe out. There's no way they're going to do that.
But
this is the problem, MC. No, the word that you use.
Extrapolated, and it just. I don't know.
No, MC used the correct word. It's accountability. Nobody gets held accountable for any of this bullshit because they constantly have, because of this divisional aspect of it. They can say, well, we're accountable for this, but not for that. And so, it's like plausible deniability bullshit. This is the game that they're playing.
But you can use it if somebody uses it against you. You just delve down layer, and then
but only if the DM allows it. Right? And you can say I can use it against you, but the DM says, nah, that doesn't make any sense. Sorry.
I got my own 20 side.
Well, that's why you got your bunch of other players to whether they actually say something or how they react, whether they make eye contact or look away. It's about the total players of the game.
Wonderful, but when you're dealing in
the DM can do
society,
that, but the DM loses credibility then, and then folks might not keep playing his game.
All right, and then what ends up happening in the long run? I mean, you can play that game.
I think you hit. No, wait a minute. Memes accidentally stumbled into the whole crux of the argument that you guys are whatever.
Crux.
Shut up. The whole point, though, is what you're saying is they are taking over the game, and you no longer want to play the game, right? So the players will turn around and leave the game. But what happens in the real world when the English decide we no longer want to play this multicultural game, and they start a fucking uprising? That has real world effects. It's not
it will. That's going to be seismic because when you consider London as the it is the single largest financial center. People say New York is. It's not. There are more banks in the square mile of London than there are in New York.
Yep, he's right.
Sure,
so it goes fucking weird very quickly.
Well, so memes, I want to know what the response is to that, because when you're talking about walking away from the game, that is walking away from Parliament. That is an overthrow. That is a societal upheaval to walk away from that D&D game.
Well, yeah, dude. I mean, that throws you off. That could be like decades of work and shit like that you put into a campaign, man. That's not an easy thing to do. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, no, here's the thing. If you've only been playing the game for a short while, And it's like, what do you really have invested in it? It's like, all right, a bunch of these guys are assholes. But if you're playing with a bunch of good folks and stuff like that, and you're having a good time, you've been doing it a while, it's like any type of relationship. The more you feel that you have invested and those other folks feel that they have invested with you and those other folks, the harder it is to walk away from. That's why you try to avoid revolution at all costs.
But Jensen, let's step away from the virtual and actual into reality. I mean, Britain has had the Commonwealth for an awful long time.
You called me MC a little bit ago, and now you called memes Jensen. You're just off it tonight.
No. I was asking. I was asking Jen. No. Memes said what he said. I responded to him, but I was actually asking Jensen the question. Jensen, I mean, when we're looking at the British Commonwealth. What we shirked off, what we, denied ourselves, and how it could be, reformed into something, as a functional trading group, in order to counter the effects of the, because damn well, right? The Europeans are going to come at us. They are not going to want this to work, right? If Brexit works, Europe is in deep shit.
Oh, yes.
Hungary and, Poland, everyone else. So we can actually make it work. But why? I don't understand why our own government allowed ourselves to get into a position where we couldn't even trade with our own Commonwealth countries. And why the Queen, the very sovereign, the head of state, allowed this to get to such a point.
Well, I can
still blows my mind.
I think the reason that your queen does that is because she understands if she gets involved in it, all hell can break loose, and she's looking at it from the standpoint of stability. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but one of the problems with the monarchies that have that kind of power, right, is over time, if their power is not utilized, they become very reluctant to actually exercise it. It's one of the reasons that Japan went to war with the United States, because the emperor.
Yes, exactly. So I would think that then, so you would say that effectively they become redundant, right?
It's kind of like doing politics.
They are no longer.
Done them in a while, you're not going to try them.
Yeah, well, they're no longer fit for purpose, right?
Well, but it's not that. It's that the consequences, they look at the consequences of their quote unquote the people that are under them or their subject. And if their view is my goal is to make, give my subject stability, all right, from a governmental standpoint, to try and mitigate some of this stuff, they become very acquiescent toward what the populace wants to happen, as reflected by who they voted into the government.
Yes, but what I don't get is, right, that the one thing they need is the public support, right? That's the only way that they stay in their, extremely subsidized experience, whatever you want to call it, their pampered lives, are dependent on the fact that the people want to support them. So the one group of people you think would be the most acquiescent to the public view would be the royal family, and they don't do shit.
I think he's saying that basically MC's saying kind of like they don't want to seem political.
Oh yeah, well they're not allowed technically to be. Technically they're not allowed to be, but they should be allowed to to express something about their existence.
Cabbage.
And if you remove,
what was that, Jensen?
But sovereignty.
Let JQ talk.
Sovereignty is the key.
Unfortunately, you are correct, but the royalty, if they actually really want to be considered a valid thing, they actually need to start showing the backbones that our royalty used to have. I'm just hoping that somewhere inside that at least one of them still has a pair of balls and is willing to stand up. Because, like I said,
you know what? It might even be a bastard that does it.
Well,
it could be
when you guys have a king again, will the king act like a king, or is he going to act like the queen has and just be silent on everything?
Well, if it's Charles, you guys are screwed.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think Charles is going to be king. I think he'll
Prince
be
King William.
Yeah, I think William will be Prince Regent.
My,
I think they're going to go for a regent.
My old man always said, he's like, the Queen is holding on a long time. Or maybe it was my mom. I think my mom actually told me. She's like, yep, she ain't leaving until William's at least 40.
Well, no, the thing is, the Queen can't do anything about it. You know, she has to die to relinquish the responsibility.
Well,
I mean, that's just the way it works,
die, is
right?
what he's saying.
Couldn't she abdicate?
Long live the Queen.
Why can't she abdicate the crown? Why can't she pass it on?
Well, you can, but that just makes somebody a regent. You see, that's the difference.
Your hand.
Yeah, so it's a regent. It's not actually. I mean, like Charles will get crowned king, and then he can, give William the responsibilities, but he will still be technically king. But you will have, like with King George. Yeah.
Okay, but
there were a lot of King George.
Why would he pass the powers down? You said, from what I've heard from you, Cabbage, about him, he's actually the guy you guys need as king right now, right? He won't take any of this shit.
Charles? No, Charles is a total fucking left winger. I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't dyed his head.
Oh, who was it you were talking about? Somebody that's in the line of secession you were talking about.
Harry.
It might be Harry.
But Harry is not really Charles's son. I mean, he's the kid of a car salesman.
We don't know if he's the son of Mr. Yeah.
We know. We do know because they look identical.
If you look at, but we might be looking for that.
Sorry, but if you look at them in uniform side by side, it's a dead ringer.
Yeah, there is absolutely
there's no doubt about it.
Charles and Harry. Seriously, it's a fucking joke. But Harry is the guy we need. All we need to do is get him to not be as soft as the rest of them.
Well, I'm just.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You see, at least Hewitt.
Well, to be fair, he did dress as a Nazi.
Okay, I'm just throwing this out.
At least Hewitt had some backbone, right? I mean, he was a captain and he served in the military and he actually did some fucking service,
What would it
I mean, so Hewitt, as a father of a king, is a pretty good move.
But what would it take for Sean Connery's knighted, right? He's a sir. What would it take for him
he's
to
a
be
total
king?
cunt.
I just want to see Sean
him.
Connery as king.
Fuck him. Fuck him.
Didn't he play
Fuck
king
him. He supported the
yes,
Scottish
he's taking a lot of U.S. dollars. I understand, Cabbage.
He went on. No, fuck him. I mean, there's so many ways that I'd fuck him.
What Sean Connery do?
With the when Scotland was going independent.
Oh, he wasn't a fan.
Fucking hypocrite. Yeah.
Oh. So what you're saying is he sold Scotland out, but he stole the accent.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but the man is as duplicitous as you can find.
So he'd be an excellent politician.
No, I'm not buying that. He's a shit.
The good news is that there is absolutely no way, barring an absolute massacre of immense proportions, there is no way that Connery would ever be considered as part of the royal family. It's almost ridiculous to...
It is ridiculous. I was just throwing it out there to get Cabbage.
Oh, no. I know. I'm not trying to actually have a go at you with it. I'm just making sure you understand literally the absolute massacre necessary for him to actually get a ruling position.
But wait a second. He is knighted, correct?
He has been knighted, yes, but it's like a lowly title. Remember, don't forget, there are levels of knighting, right? To be
fair, CNN did do this. What happens if the president and his entire cabinet get obliterated? And Ben Carson would be president of the United States now because he's the head of the housing. So it'd follow just with the show, and it would be very synchronistic in many ways. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, he's like 5,000th in line to be king.
No. He's not in line in any way. He has no blood relationship to the
Well,
crown.
no,
he
I
could
understand.
never become king.
Okay, no, that's
it doesn't
fine. That's
matter.
fine.
It's irrelevant.
But
there's no
we
blood
live,
tie.
dude. We live in the social media era.
I'm
What
just
if we
hoping
meet
he would
Sean
give me my
Connery
castle.
as king
No,
in the UK?
nothing.
No, if Sean Connery
Jedi is a
becomes
religion
king,
in the UK. Are you sure you couldn't do that?
if Sean
I
Connery gets
put
king,
Jedi
I'm guessing
on
he'll let me
my
have my castle.
list. Yeah, Sean Connery would know. He wouldn't.
Wait.
No, because Sean
Hold
Connery doesn't have any regard for his own country. He
Okay,
doesn't give
okay.
a shit. The guy
So he would
fucking
be an
shit on his own
He would be an
country.
excellent leader then, in many ways. That's what we seem to say about our current leaders. But the reason I say this is, remember, Sean Connery is James Bond. You're saying no country would want the head of its most secret intelligence agencies as its leader?
Well, no, not a gibbering lunatic
Goddamn.
who just, who I mean, he eats like he's a fucking camel. Have you ever seen him eat something?
I don't care. I've seen Donald Trump eat pizza with a fork and knife, but I still voted for the guy.
Who the fuck does that? What self-respecting
My dad.
even New Yorker does that? What the fuck?
You're either very rich or very Jewish, or maybe both.
God damn.
Did
No.
you eat a burger with a melon spooner or something? Well, and what
The
kind
fuck
of
is
weird
wrong with
life are you living? Well, I don't know. I'm asking what's wrong
like
with you.
that.
You said you ate a fucking
Well,
pizza.
actually, Cabbage, there are times when you need a fork for a burger. It's when it's a chili burger and it's just covered with that dank-ass chili and cheese.
Oh, no, you eat with
kinda
your
need a
fucking
fork.
hands, man. Be a man.
Anyway. Okay, so...
Yeah, that's why you need a wife. You got to have something to wipe your hands on.
That's fair.
Yeah, right. No, but
So
okay.
is that too Muslim?
The monarchy isn't going to do shit. All right? You people in England, you Englishmen,
people.
you're going to have to stand up. You're going to have to stand up and do something. Or just let
It
this
will
continue.
happen.
I don't know. I don't know how much longer you can
Cabbage
wait.
went to the march, right?
Yeah. And like I said, Jensen knows that there will be a straw that breaks the camel's back. We saw it with the when they introduced the, that tax, poll tax, yeah, and people just went, it's like enough's enough. Unfortunately, you see, that's the problem that the government doesn't get, is that people are willing to be reasonable up to a point, and then it goes bad, but it goes bad very quickly. It's not something you can gauge.
Well, it's like the swing.
It's not. It's not like a pressure. It's not a pressure gauge. No. It's just a.
The
boom,
further the
you know what I mean.
The further the pendulum swings left, the further it's going to swing back right, and that's what I'm kind of afraid of. You guys are going to get so fed up that you're going to look for a leader. Something bad's going to happen, and you're going to have a very dictatorial type of government.
That's the thing. That's the great thing about this country that I don't think would happen, is because most people just want to be left alone to get on with their lives, right? So we have a very kind of placid mentality, but that's the point. When we are pushed to the point, then people get weird. Okay, yeah. Then you're trying to reverse back to a nice placid environment where I don't think we're ever going to end up with a Hitler. I really don't. I don't know, Jensen, what do you think?
Actually, I completely agree with you, mate. The thing with the English is we're a very polite and, I'll be honest, passive group. But unfortunately, one of the things with the passive groups is one day something just gets into our head, and, well, then you end up with the British Empire Part 2. And an awful lot of fucking dead people. Sorry for swearing, but it needs to be said at that point.
But Jensen, here's the thing. What you just described literally sounds like when Lord Kazakh was trolled and kited into Stormwind.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, but
I don't want you to misrepresent the English here. You guys are polite.
Oh yeah.
Occasionally, yes. Occasionally. well, when you deserve it. See, you have to earn it, you see. Respect is earned. It's not given.
Well, Cabbage, I thought we were friends, and you're not even polite to me. That's why we're friends.
That's what happens. You see? That's what happens when you get homeschooled. You stop thinking.
No, it's because you guys are chumps. It's the profanity question again, man. When do you curse? You curse those you love and those whom you hate.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's hard to tell which sometimes.
Yep.
Well, no, actually, it's easy. If we're really, really, really horrible to you, it means we probably actually really, really like you. It's just the way.
Yes.
But Jensen, not everyone is like around an S-class troll like you.
No. But you see, this is the whole point. People think trolling that would be life in a normal pub in England. That's not trolling.
That's right. If
You know,
I didn't specify.
me and my mate Dave, he's a total cunt. But if you can get past his cuntiness, then he's
that's
you
fair
know?
in a pub.
You
Yeah.
know, that's how you.
How
But
about
that's
Twitter?
how you do things. I
How
mean,
about a Twitter ding
yeah,
dong?
but that's what I mean.
Oh,
You know, at least
fuck
when it's
Twitter,
with people,
dude. The minute I use
it's
the
with
word cunt
people.
on
We
Twitter,
take
they
this
ban.
shit for granted. It's called banter. Fuck's sake.
No, memes. You want to get a 12-hour ban on Twitter? Just say cunt and at somebody. Like, pick anybody randomly. I don't give a fuck who it is.
I'm not a big fan of that.
Oh, actually,
I'm sorry.
I tell you what, try that. No, try that, Mad Dodge, but try cunt at yourself, right? And see what happens. Just see if it's part of an algorithm. And you could ban yourself for calling
12-hour
yourself
ban
a
on
cunt.
myself.
Yeah.
That's great.
Seriously. Record it. Make it an exercise. See if the algorithm catches you. That'd be funny as fuck.
Actually, I like that idea. I might try that. Let's be honest. I don't give a damn about Twitter.
You need to make a brand new account because somebody would probably either retweet or report you just for shits and giggles.
Oh, yeah, like all the people following me will fucking retweet that shit. Yeah. Like, oh, Mad Dodge is calling himself a cunt. What a cunt.
Give it a shot, mate. See what happens. See if the algorithm catches you.
But
Calling yourself a cunt.
No, I want to throw this back at either Jensen or Cabbage. From what I saw yesterday, I actually have hope for you guys. I know I'm being kind of a doomsayer right now because I kind of feel like this needs to happen more. Kind of like the Women's March. There's only supposed to be one, and there's been like 2 or 3 plus fucking anti-gun marches, pro-gun marches. People are taking to the damn streets in the United States. It seems like you guys kind of sit on your hands a little bit. And I know I'm generalizing, and I apologize.
No, we do. No, it's true.
You know, but
it's not an unfair observation, mate.
yeah, I would hope once every 3 months you guys fucking do a free speech march. Keep this in the news. Make them report on it. You know what I mean?
Occupy Speaker's Corner.
Yeah.
It's a nice idea, but let's be honest. The only time it will be reported is on YouTube by the alternate news sources.
Mm-hmm.
The mainstreams would just cover it up or just turn it into oh look, another right-wing march. That's all they're going to do, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Set up a Wi-Fi hotspot there.
No, do you think they would kind of freak out, though? Look, the right is going crazy. Every 3 months on the freaking day, they're having another march.
No.
You know, this is getting worse and worse. Oh, my God. You think they might crack down on free speech even more? Shut down your ability to get a permit to march?
They would actually shut the marches down at that point because it would become a source of civil disobedience, I believe is the technical term for it. That's
Not if it's permitted.
Sorry, say again, mate?
Oh, not if it's permitted.
Yeah, that's the point. They will scrap the permit, deny it existed, and then it's up to us to prove it did, which of course we will be unable to prove.
Well, you just use hashtags and pictures.
Or you just march anyway. They can't arrest you all. Not the crowd I saw there. There's no fucking way. And they're going to you either have to do this peacefully or shit's going to hit the fan within, I don't know. I'll be an optimist. 5 years. There you go. I think it's a lot less, but I'll be an optimist. If you guys don't make freedom of speech a real issue in the UK and actually nail it down and and overturn, especially Dankula's conviction, I really don't know what's going to happen to that country, because there is a lot of people that will stand up, but what kind of support will they get when the country's too far gone?
No, I agree with you, mate. Here's the thing. You might want to actually look at your own country with this, because you guys are having one or two problems with the old free speech thing. Perhaps look at us as a litmus test, you know, just something to think about. I don't want to.
No, you're absolutely right. The only reason I'm more worried about the UK at this point than I am the United States is we have the Constitution, and you guys don't.
Yes,
that we have a stopgap when it comes to freedom of speech. It's going to take a lot to take that away from us, just like guns. Good luck. They keep pushing at it, and then they get the pushback, and it fades away into the background every time. Not freedom of speech in the UK. It's not fading away. Matter of fact, it's getting more and more restricted.
Yeah, can't actually disagree with you, unfortunately, as much as I wish I could. We have gone soft. There you go. I've admitted it. Britain has gone soft. It's only going to be interesting when Britain finally decides to nut up and deal with the situation. The only problem with the English is if we don't have a good leader that can control the masses, we may end up doing more damage trying to fix ourselves than allowing things to move along as they are. And I'd like it noted, I am actually one of the people who would be happy to be out there at the barricades fighting against the enemy, just so that's absolutely clear.
But if you're willing to fight the barricades at that point, like, are you willing to do something before that?
Am I willing? Yes, but the problem is I don't know what I could actually do. I'll be honest with you. That's the problem.
Well, you're on YouTube. You're commenting about it right now. You're doing something.
Yeah.
But again, I go back to my original question. How much would it take for you to get off your ass?
Thinking about that. I carry on talking. I'm going to have to think about that, because that's actually a very deep question to really think through. At what point am I willing to actually make a difference?
Well, that's why I brought up. You always hear that thrown around, yeah.
Well, no, a better question. Put yourself at risk, because that's what you're doing. If they shut down the next march, right? If somebody ever listened to this, it was like, I think he's right. That's a great idea. We should do this every 3 months. And they shut down the next one. They don't release the permits. If you're not a fast runner, you might be one of the people arrested. Are you willing to put yourself in risk to be arrested, to have a criminal charge? To actually put yourself out there.
If you didn't do anything wrong, the reason I say this is because that happened to my brother. He actually went down with some friends and was in the Occupy Wall Street area. He happened to be on a bridge at the wrong place at the wrong time, and they happened to arrest him. I mean, everything was dropped and everything, and I think he actually just got a payout from that. But it's as long as you're not actually doing anything wrong. Like, if you're going around smashing shit and starting fights and stuff like that, like, that's a different story. Yeah, if you're doing shit like that and you're directly around that, that's the point where you get the fuck out of there. But if you're literally just standing there, and it's obvious, and let's face it, the UK, especially London, has a lot of cameras to help prove if you really didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, it sucks fucking getting arrested, but there is a court system if you have valuable evidence to back you up. I'll give you an example. Like, when I went to that free speech rally with like Sargon and stuff down in Concord, the reason why I say, like, again, certain areas, it might be different, depends on the law enforcement. But I guarantee you, the Concord Police Department, the surrounding police departments, they were there. They were sticking up for us. And I assume in many places in the UK, it would be the same. If there actually is a permitted process, the police don't want shit to go wrong because that looks bad on them. So it's one of those things. You just go out there, and just the sheer fact that there are numbers out there. There are like 60 guys. I'm like, well, 60 doesn't seem like a lot, but it's like 60, and then you have like, what, maybe 60 or 80, maybe 100 folks protesting against you, it's, hey, whatever, man. If I gotta give a guy directions to where he should protest against me because he's there to protest Nazis, it's like, whatever. I'm just gonna treat him like a human being. I'll be the fucking nicest Nazi ever. Yeah, that's how you actually like do change. You don't just hurl insults and shit like that, because if you call somebody a bunch of names, they're just gonna call you a bunch of names back. That's natural human reaction. You have to get out there and actually do something, and then that's how folks actually start to say, oh, hey, maybe there's something to this.
Okay. I've sort of got an answer to the question that was put forward. Okay. When would I be willing to do it? I actually feel I would work better if there was someone else as a leader. As I've said before, never actually give me any sort of leadership power, because unfortunately I can go to extremes that would actually make Voice look at me and go, God damn, that's a bit much, dude. So I would work better with a group, even though the work I would do would be separate from them, because like I say, the things I would be willing to do are not legal by any stretch of the imagination. To be completely honest, you could probably take me to the oh yes, that's the one, the Geneva Convention. I look at that as, well, a suggestion, not a law. Does that give you an idea?
Well, a lot of folks take it that way too, so.
Yeah. The problem is we're doing this in what would be classed as a civilized country. Because after all, let's be honest, most of the countries that look at the Geneva Convention as, well, just a bit of paper, are generally defined as third world. Now, I'm not trying to paint this too broadly, but generally they are third world countries, or at least less civilized than first world countries.
I mean, that was a very deep answer. I mean, I was going more on the lines of what would take you to get up off your ass and actually like go down to London to kind of walk around for a few hours, maybe in the rain, and listen to Sargon for like 4 minutes. I was going to say maybe like a paid for bus ticket and free lunch.
Well, funnily enough, I would actually voluntarily go to one of those things, but me getting there is not exactly easy. Let's put it that way. It would involve, I wouldn't be able to just go on public transport to get there. Okay.
That's fair. That's why I label it as paid for bus ticket, which I should have said bus fare, which may have involved the train and a few other things. So,
were somebody capable of actually transporting me there, yes, I would be willing. And to be honest, yes, I'd actually be willing to speak at one of these things, just as long as I could keep my fucking face away from the cameras.
Well, like you said, to give you power would be another thing. That's a difference in paying like your way there.
Yeah. Now, you have a valid point. Like I say, were I able to get there, would I be willing? Yes. Okay. Does that answer?
But yeah, you can speak from your home though, because of the internet. They could also live stream it if need be. Whatever. But the fact is, you're willing to actually participate in this type of discourse and try and do something about it.
Yes.
And you're right. I'm not slamming the UK. I'm not. I'm worried about the UK, man. Really. I mean, there's a lot of bullshit going on in America, but you have to go state by state or overturn the Constitution. Good luck on either one, really. I mean, California might be lost, but we still have Texas. I mean, you know.
The cases of issue are the First and Second Amendment cases that have come up where basically you're either seeing some form of compelled speech or literally the overt restriction of firearms. None of those, as far as I know, have gone up to the Supreme Court yet. They'll probably take at least like 2 years or so for them to get up there. But I tend to agree with MD on this. It's just the Constitution. It's hard to argue with the Constitution right there. So we do have that. It's just I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, things are going to happen, and actually, I do think things will start to get organized. And when I say literally, how can we make Sean Connery king? I'm just talking about straight up like mimetic theory. If you memed it enough and you put in folks' mind enough that, oh, this would be a pretty cool idea, because Jedi's a religion in the UK. If you can make Jedi an official religion, you're saying you couldn't make James Bond king, or at least prime minister?
It's a nice idea, but the problem is our the way we do things politically over here is obviously vastly fucking different than the way the Americans do it, which is why when you guys start talking your American rules, I sit back and don't say anything, because hell, I don't know about it. I'm literally learning it as you guys are saying it. Over here, we are very, very convoluted. There is so much bureaucracy actually blocking anything from really happening. That's why technically we are a three-party country. I know you couldn't actually sit there and laugh at that, try and suggest that Liberal Democrats are still a political party, but technically they still are. In America, you vote specifically for your leader. Over here, the party votes the leader, the people vote the party. That's the major difference. And that's why getting Sean Connery in as Prime Minister is an almost impossibility. With all of the goodwill of the people on his side, it kind of still not going to happen, because the parties pick their leader, not the people.
So you need to create a party called MI6.
Yeah, no, because MI6 are not quite as competent as they come across in the James Bond movies. I don't mean to...
Oh, it's an actual agency.
Sorry?
Oh, see, I thought it was only MI5. I thought MI6 was actually the one from James Bond. I thought they just added a level.
No. Just out of interest, are you actually joking with that, or do you not know?
Well, to be fair, I originally thought that. I actually thought there was an MI6 like special operations unit, and then for some reason I just kept on hearing MI5, so I assumed that it was a parody.
No, I'll make it easier for you Americans. MI5, FBI, MI6, CIA.
Gotcha.
Nice and simple. There you go. Okay. You understand where I'm going with that? Yeah.
Gotcha.
Awesome. Brilliant. So that's why we won't have an MI6 as a political party, funnily enough.
What would it take?
MI007.
What would it take for you to actually enshrine the what we call the Second Amendment, or not Second Amendment, the First Amendment, into law, like freedom of speech, freedom of the press, you know?
Okay, are you asking me personally or the country as a whole?
What would it take to actually pass a law enshrining that and maybe creating a constitution? The country as a whole, yeah.
Right, okay. Well, for one thing, we've somehow got to get that passed, not only the House of Commons, but the House of Lords as well. And I'm not trying to say that they are hidebound and don't like change much, but yeah, these guys would not allow that, for the simple fact it would take away from their power as well. So it'd be really good if we could do that. I just don't think we will actually be able to, sadly.
Wait, couldn't you guys just pass a referendum limiting the terms of MPs?
No. And if we're actually going to start talking about the how long a person can stay in their position, I'm sorry, but you guys over there with your 2 terms thing, really, is that is genuinely a thing? You're only allowed to be there for 2 terms in a row, yeah?
Well, it wasn't always that way.
Go back to the old way, for God's sake. Seriously. I mean, okay, here's a theorem for you. What is it? Mind games, or whatever you call it. try this. You have let's just pretend you have a president that is just that damn good, okay? He somehow sorts out every fucking problem your country has. The guy is basically Jesus Christ on acid. You got the basic idea yet? He gets his 2 terms, and then he's kicked the fuck out. What the hell? You've got a dude who is actually succeeding in doing what he's doing. He's making your he's making your country great again, all jokes aside. And then you're going to kick the poor bastard out. What? Seriously, guys, what the hell? Can someone explain that to a British person?
It's very simple, man, because yes, even though you may have near the embodiment of a deity in and of itself as presence, basically, yeah, you might have the good benevolent king, but what happens if you get the tyrannical king? You want the way for them to get the fuck out of there.
No, I agree with that side of it, but correct me if I'm wrong, your entire country's thing with the Second Amendment is if you have a leader that is a complete freaking moron, you go in there and shoot him in the head. That's a really good way of getting rid of bad ones.
Yeah, but we put a limiter on that, it getting to that part, because we try to avoid that.
Yeah, I don't know.
And if anything, I was talking about more for, that's why I was talking about like MPs and stuff. I understand that does end up implicating the executive over there as well, but over here, man, like Congress doesn't have that.
Good. Okay, all right. That's good to know. At least you guys aren't kicking out the good ones early. That was
you do realize even at like the poorest times in the Bush administration, I think George Bush's approval rating was still like limits above Congress. Everybody might like their local congressperson at some point or another, but Congress is one of the few like branches that literally is like at times in single digits.
Oh, okay, well, unfortunately, like you say, over here, they can, as long as they're voted in, they get to stay until basically we get sick and tired of them. I'm going to remind you of Margaret Thatcher and the fact that she got in like late 70s and just didn't go anywhere until the early 90s, I think it was, if I remember correctly. You know, she became our Prime Minister for whatever reason. She stayed in, and that's that. Hey, 40.
Howdy. How's it going, guys?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm the token Englishman, so I'm the one that they're throwing questions at.
Yeah, we're worried about the UK. We have concerns.
I'm worried as well.
I'll be honest, I have concerns about Britain. It has become a fucking joke. I mean, I joined up to fight for Queen and Country. Nowadays, I don't know that I'd actually do that with how bad the country has become. And I'm very much a loyalist to my country. I'd say borderline fanatical at times. I really am. But nowadays, I don't know. I don't think I could actually stand on the front lines fighting the enemy thinking, I am doing this for those people. That just appalls me nowadays. Yeah. What I can say.
Yeah, I mean, especially after that man in I totally forgot the name of the town, but somewhere up in Scotland got arrested for carrying a potato peeler. You know, so it's and to be honest,
what?
That's not a joke.
Yeah, he was. I don't know if it's officially come out what kind of like deficiency this guy has, but it was stated in a few articles that he was mentally deficient to some capacity, and he was just walking around with a potato peeler in his pocket. Not even, as far as I know, it wasn't even out like in his hand.
He wasn't wielding it.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Did he get stopped and frisked?
suggested he was wielding it, but I don't know. The amusing thing is the picture they actually show for the potato peeler is it's not even the pointy, sharp, spiky-looking son of a bitch. It's, I don't know how to describe it. You know the one with the two prongs and the blade held between them? Do you know the sort of potato peeler I mean?
It's one step above safety scissors.
Yes, it's pathetic.
The dude got arrested for having that in his pocket.
Yeah, because the potato peeler has a blade on it. You see, they're doing it by semantics. Really.
How do you guys shave?
There's
got to be a lot of beards going on now in the UK.
It won't be long before that does actually happen.
To be fair, that would be quite the protest, if you would, if the entire male and maybe even some of the female population just grew beards.
Then we don't look like them.
I didn't know they had dwarves in England. How big of a beard can the English women grow?
It's one of their homelands, comrade.
Dude, really, you didn't think we had dwarves? I'm going to remind you, it is still a sport in certain parts of this country, generally up north, I have to say, but dwarf tossing was a sport.
That was most definitely Scotland.
Yeah, is that kind of like baby shuffleboard?
No wonder you guys are so polite.
Yeah, we have to be polite because otherwise we end up going completely insane and killing lots of people. So.
No, I thought you were just tossing around short folks.
Yeah.
Sounds like a party.
Yeah, no, it's not necessarily a nice thing. There were meant to be quite a few injuries involved in it. Let's just put it that way.
It sounds like a frat house.
Yeah, sounds about right. Well, so yes, England is screwed. To put it
so 40.
Go on.
40 ounce. Did you see anything about the Day of Freedom March yesterday and the protest?
Sorry. No, I just got home from doing a bunch of stuff. I don't know what happened. What's the Day of Freedom? Is this a march for free speech somewhere?
Yes.
I'm assuming. Is it in the UK by chance?
Yeah, it was in London.
Oh, okay. That's good. How many people ended up showing up?
A fuckload. Okay.
Thousands.
Yeah. And quite a few big YouTubers were there. Sargon, Dankula, plus lots of other people that unfortunately names I don't know, because unlike you guys who spout off all these names and know who they are, I don't know who half these people are that you talk about, but I'll try to join in.
No, it's all good. Important YouTubers, that's broad enough. I think I might know who you're talking about.
To be honest, it'll probably take you about 5 minutes of looking at, and you'll be sitting there going, "Oh, so and so, oh, so and so." With me, the only two I know are Sargon and Dankula, so I'm not so hot when it comes to knowing these people yet.
No, that's okay.
To be fair, if many people that are on the internet, if you see them in real life, a lot of times you won't really even know unless they're like, "Oh, hey, here's Sargon of Akkad. Oh, it's all right. I didn't see him. Everyone else."
Actually, talking about Sargon, as much as he claims he's what was it, a leftist or whatever, if you actually watch his latest This Week in Stupid, he is coming across really quite right wing at times. It's really quite good.
Yeah, no, and that's one of the big criticisms that I think Secular Talk Kalinski points out. He's like, I agree with him on a number of things, but it's just like, dude, you keep on saying you're on the left, but at this point now, it really does seem like you're kind of on the right and stuff. Because it's popular and he's fighting for a lot of principles. It's basically a lot of folks seem to be kind of co-opting a side or whatever the hell you want to call it, that they don't even claim to be a part of, but they're kind of doing these things. It's just like, okay, well, if you said you were fighting for the left because you are a member of the left, wouldn't you actually try to help the left?
You'd think that would.
Yeah. Well, sorry for interrupting. I was just going to say, the reason The reason Sargona's on the left is because he's living in his particular English bubble that dates back, you know, what, 10, 15 years or so? You know, back 10, 15 years ago, he probably was a liberal. You know, he was, he's pro-gay marriage and all this other stuff that probably weren't so popular 20, 30 years ago, probably anywhere, even in the Western world. So he is quite liberal. It's just, you know, at that point, we're talking about the Overton window. Kyle Kalinske, to me, is, you know, he's a commie bastard or something, right? But, you know, it's all perspective, I suppose.
I'll give you guys a chuckle. I was on stream with CSG, literally, just before this one, and he suggested that we were discussing political alignments of the guest he had on, and for some reason he turned around to me and reckons that I was the most centrist of the group. Me. Centrist. That actually worries me, because I know precisely how far I'm willing to go, and centrist does not even register on my horizon, I have to say.
But you're willing to acknowledge it.
Oh, I accept exactly how I feel, and I have no problems with how I feel. It's just the rest of the world would not class me as centrist by any stretch of the imagination.
All right, I have a question then. Were you a member of the English Defense League?
He was too young.
and the hesitation worries me a little bit.
Well, I will freely admit that before Facebook killed off my first Facebook account, I was actually on part of their group, yes. And I was talking on there quite often as well.
Well, no, and the only reason I say it worries me is because you're not really a centrist then, right? Because that's far right in English terms, at least.
Did you have a membership card?
No, that's why I
You weren't a member.
hesitated before I fully answered.
You spoke to some of them. That doesn't necessarily make you one of them.
That is true. Though, in all fairness, more than a few of them I actually considered a little bit too left-wing for my comfort. So, you know. Yeah, you laugh, I'm being serious.
No, I know you're being serious. It's just funny.
Oh, good. You're good.
Careful, buddy. A little bit to the right, and you might be an American conservative.
Yeah, I'm wondering what Jensen thinks about my political leanings now. Jeez. He probably thinks I'm a dirty commie.
Actually, I really enjoyed talking to you guys. It's absolutely fascinating to see how far you guys would go, and then me sit there and calculate how far I think you really would need to go to make the changes that you espouse. And I'm just wondering how many of you are actually willing to take that final step. Kind of like the question you asked me about would I have gone up there and done my thing. Are you guys really willing to do what it takes to get your country back and actually, again, I make the joke, but make your country great again?
Oh, it's funny too. I remember seeing hats at that march yesterday with "Make Britain Great Again." I'm like, I wonder if Donald Trump is going to sue or not.
Actually,
it
I think
depends.
Trademarked.
it. I really do. I think he actually supports us a lot more than he's willing to say out loud. But that's just my opinion.
But no, 40 ounce. 40. It sounded like you wanted to respond to Quinn's question directly, and go ahead, because that joke popped in my head. I had to.
Well, how far were you talking about, Jensen? Like, you talking about getting shot up inside a Tiananmen Square, going far, or because I mean, it depends on your definition of how far are you willing to go, quote unquote. Because I think a lot of people would be scared to stand in front of a tank, or to get in a street fight or something like that.
Okay, nice and easy then. Are you willing to die for your convictions?
I wouldn't mind. Sweet release.
Okay, no, funny enough, that's cool. That is the answer I was hoping you'd say. Memes, are you willing to die for your convictions?
Memes is the ultimate centrist. He doesn't have to die for his. He just sits on the fence.
Okay, are you willing to pull the splinters out of your arse?
What?
You're not sitting on the fence, mate, apparently, so...
Oh, I was going to say, to be fair, at least when I was 10 years old, I was willing to die for a fictional hedgehog.
Okay, that's fair.
That really wasn't an answer, but you take it as you want.
That's Sonic.
No, but I do have an answer. To be perfectly honest, I would not know until the time came. If I'm at the Bundy Ranch standoff, which I wasn't, but if I was, I would have been right there with them with a rifle pointed at the federal government. Now, when the federal government opens fire, what do you do? And you don't know that until it happens.
Agreed. I don't.
Well, I think that boils down to, we say principles, die or die for your convictions, but what instance would be the archetype of your convictions? And that might be something that's relevant.
Okay, I'm remembering that. Right. As much as we make jokes about memes being centrist stroke, left stroke, communist stroke, whatever the bloody hell you want to call it, technically, right here, we've actually got all of the major political outlooks, per se, assuming that I class myself as right, far right or anything like that, which I actually don't consider myself that. I don't actually know what my political leanings would actually class as, I have to say. So it's a little bit awkward there, but okay. Sorry, just taking a breath, getting my brain working. Your country is known for its violence. Like it or not, it is. Let's be honest, your country was born out of violence. Agreed?
Yeah, I'll agree to those terms. Yeah.
How many of your countrymen do you really think, if we altered the universe in such a way that we went back to the 1700s, do you really think your country would actually stand up and fight back against the evil British Empire?
Oh my gosh.
I want to answer that, and then I'll throw it to 40 and then memes. Yep. My answer would be the same people that stood up then, which was pretty much roughly 1 to 5% of the colonials.
Yep.
I believe with the whole of the United States, 1 to 5% would rebel. And I believe that is still true, because if you look at what you call preppers, you look at all these Confederate groups, you even look at the black nationalist groups, all those groups added together equal about probably 10% of the pop. So there has to be at least 5%, 1 to 5, that would be what we would call patriots, if the same situation was going on with the same population that we agree or disagree. Go ahead, 40.
You know what? Here's, gosh, this is a this is a funny question, because it really shows how much my lack of faith in my fellow countrymen. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If you were to take today's population and put them in the kind of yield 1776 kind of scenario, yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't have much faith that anyone is gonna stand up and fight, to be quite honest. Just looking at our current political system, so many people are so adverse to politics. There are so many people in America that don't even want to simply take part in politics. Look at about half the country doesn't vote. About half of the people that do vote don't even agree with most parties, like the Democrats or the Republicans. They just vote for one of the major parties because it's convenient for them. So it would be such an extremely small percentage of people actually willing to fight that I don't think it would be enough to make a difference, honestly.
Memes, you go, and then I want to respond to 40 because I really, I have a little bit more faith in humanity than he does. I think.
Me too. By the way,
Welcome back, Abby.
point that out.
Ooh. The answer to that, man, I have no idea. There would always be some. Are there the amount? I mean, it depends on exactly which simulation you want to run.
Okay, if we want to take this direct, in my perspective, we'll call the Patriots a 1775 and 6. We'll call them, I don't know, libertarians. Let's just have fun with that. What was the population of the voting group that voted libertarian this last election? About 4%, 3 to 4, depends on what you read, which is weird considering the numbers should be set, but you know how it is. That's at least 3%. The American Revolution was fought with about 2 to 3, some estimates even 1% of the colonists fought on side of the Patriots. There was another 5 or 10% who were actual loyalists and boistered the colonial invasion by helping the British directly or indirectly through trade, like occupied New York City. So, I mean, I think it would be the same demographics today. What you would really need is France's intervention, which is what they got then, and you would need that again.
What, you expect the French to do anything? Are you mental?
I'm not talking about today. We're saying if we went back with our current population.
Wait. With the U.S.'s current population and at that time French, or are we bringing back the U.S. and the French? Or to be fair, are we bringing back the UK to that point? Because at this point, they'd just be like, all right, off with you then.
Okay, now we're stuck in a Star Trek time fucking jump episode.
I'm sorry.
Hit abort. Hit abort.
Seriously. Well, yeah, you started the bloody bullshit. Your fault.
No, but 40. Any response to that? Just looking at the libertarian numbers of who voted for Gary Johnson, you can see about 3%, right? I mean, that would be roughly the number of patriots.
Yes, but Gary Johnson is 3% in a particular locality. I mean, it's not 3% of the entire populace.
I'm talking about the general. I'm talking about the populist vote, not the electoral college, where he got a big fat goose egg.
No, I mean in terms of the populace as a whole. You know, all three.
The popular vote. No, it was higher. Million. It was higher in some states.
Yeah, well, no,
Oregon had it up at 10%. Every state, the libertarians got ballot access, but that's not what we're talking about. I use them as an example. I could say, you know, the percentage of Green Party people, but they wouldn't equate 1-to-1 to the Patriots of 1776, in my opinion.
To be fair, doesn't Homer Simpson usually get around 3%?
Well,
but that's all it took.
We have the Monster Arabian Looney Party over here.
Oh, God.
That's an official party.
Yeah, they're strange. I can't even call them interesting. They're actually strange.
Exactly. It makes them interesting, though, by being strange. Come on, Screaming Lord Such is an interesting character. He is.
Yeah, and funny enough, I think Mad would probably get on fairly well with him. And I don't think you'd disagree with me, would you?
With who? I was reading the chat. Repeat that real quick.
Okay. Screaming Lord Such, I actually think you would probably get on with that guy. I think he would be the British version of, well, how am I going to put this? You.
Hook me up with the email address. I'll fucking write this guy.
To be fair, Mad Dodge could drink a 40 with anybody and have a decent conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like it noted. I don't mean that in any way as an insult. Unlike the rest that will sit there and take the piss out of you for no good reason. On this, I'm actually being serious. I actually think you'd probably get on with the guy. Maybe consider looking up some bits and pieces. Don't get me wrong. He has got some ideas that are so out there. It's actually scary. Well,
yeah, because that's why it's the Monster Raving Looney Party. I mean, it's meant
have you heard? Have you heard my opinion on opening up homesteading in all the federally owned lands? I get kind of out there too.
Okay, all right, Mad. I've got one for you. This will tell me whether or not you actually get on with the Monster Raving Loony Party. Do you believe that sausages, or whatever the American definition thereof, do you believe that they should have real meat in them?
Yeah.
Okay, you and him would get on great.
There you go.
That's actually one of the things he's standing on as part of his political outlook. He wants real
That
meat.
has to be a part of his platform. What kind of sausages are you eating over there?
What
Get some
part of a pig
bratwurst
does a
or
hot
something.
dog come from?
Shut up! I had chili dogs last night for dinner. Shut the fuck up, memes.
Yeah.
Do
See,
you?
chili dogs and pizza rolls. That's what he eats. You have the worst fucking diet on the planet, mate. Seriously, get a salad every now and then.
Oh, dude, I eat a lot of Caesar chicken Caesar salads. Actually,
Yeah, chicken Caesar salad. What, from McDonald's?
no,
With
ew.
extra ranch dressing.
No,
You
no,
fat fuck.
ew! You use Caesar dressing, you fucker. What kind
What
of
is it,
cabbage
Swiss
are you?
salad?
You don't even
Fat
know your proper
bastard.
salad dressings.
Hey, it's a Caesar salad. You'd expect Caesar, on top of it, wouldn't you? I mean, like this
Yeah,
cream.
you put
You want him
Caesar
to
dressing
cream
on
over
Caesar
it.
salad.
Yeah.
What is wrong with
see?
you?
Caesar cream. You sick
No,
bastard.
and your fucking ass probably uses a salad fork too, don't you?
I do, indeed. Yes.
He has
Yes,
a
I
salad
do.
fork on his Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, well, that fork is going to be illegal soon. You need to
Actually-
get the proper government issued fork from the Queen.
That's so freaky because I do have like the 40-piece, Swiss Army knife. So there probably is one on there somewhere.
That's why I made reference.
Jesus. I know I can definitely, take the shit out of horses' hooves. That's for sure.
Yeah,
There
is it just
Why I would
me,
ever
or-
want to, I don't know. But if I
Is
need
it just
to,
me,
I
or do
can.
you always lose the plastic toothpick that comes with those?
Yeah.
Like
Dude,
always.
Always,
No,
every
they're always
time.
gone.
Yeah, and also that little screwdriver. You know the one that goes into the corkscrew.
Oh yeah.
That
It's
always
called
fucking
pouch.
disappears. Annoying, because I'm missing mine and I want it back.
Well, it was
I
super
want
frustrating.
my reparations.
It was
Check-
super frustrating because I had a Swiss Army knife with a toothpick, and it came with a little pair of tweezers, and I lost both of them.
Oh, and the pin. Don't forget, you also get a pin.
Cabbage. I know where your corkscrew went. You're gonna have to check Voice's sofa.
Oh no, the corkscrew.
Yeah, well, yeah,
no,
and 40,
I've got the
if you
corkscrew.
leave-
I just don't have the
40.
screwdriver because it used to be really good for tightening up your glasses.
Yeah.
Really
No,
good.
I think 40 misplaced the tweezers with the magnifying glass. I would check wherever you hide your magnifying glass.
Well, all he has to do then is check his tissues.
No.
It'll probably be
No,
there
no.
somewhere while you are
No, he broke the
masturbating
scissors
with
cutting
your
his pot.
tweezer.
Why is it
I'm
every
sorry.
time?
Tweezer
I couldn't help
masturbation.
it.
Why is it every time goddamn
What?
Brit comes on, we start talking about penises?
What? Why is it bullshit? You do it on your own anyway. Then you
How
just
would you
find
want-
somebody else to blame it on.
No, 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 no.
We're dudes. We have to make penis
Yeah.
jokes. It's in our nature.
Every
Um,
time Voice makes his way on here, it's always about
No,
what's
I'm
in
gonna
your
stop.
penises, Letty? Or I don't know.
No,
I don't
when it
think
comes
so.
to voice,
No, I think
he's
you're
quitting
talking
smoking,
bollocks.
guys. So let's drop the kilt jokes for a month.
Oh, really? He's quitting smoking. Okay, well, yeah, you got to give him some leeway.
Yeah.
That's going to be a painful challenge.
Yeah.
He's going cold turkey.
I
Oh,
know.
wow.
So yeah, no, he kind of bit my head off yesterday for a Scottish joke, and I was like, "Damn, dude, you usually don't get that bad." And he said he was quitting smoking. So yeah, no more Scottish jokes. He's Irish. He loves potatoes
give
and
him some
whiskey.
leeway.
Yeah, just leave him alone.
Mhm.
Well, that kind
of going crazy on your ass. Does that sound about right?
The thing is, though, now you said that, I just want to fucking antagonize him.
I know.
You should have told me that.
I know. And I did it live on air too, so everybody's gonna be fucking with Voice of One now. Great. Sorry, buddy.
He's fucked.
Yeah. That was mean.
He was kind of scary. He bit my fucking head off. I'm like, damn, dude, it was just a kilt joke. Because at the march, at the what we were originally talking about, the Day of Freedom march, I saw a Scottish guy playing the bagpipes in a kilt, and I'm like, oh, dude. I didn't know you were leading the march, voice. I saw you up front with the kilt and bagpipes, and he like wigged on me. Like, fuck.
It's a good thing you weren't an ideological enemy of his. Imagine what he would have said.
Yeah, well, no, he wouldn't have said anything. It would just be a belated package. Boom! The Irish are very good at IEDs.
So that's why it costs so much to send things.
Yeah.
That's why we're not allowed to have nice things. Bloody Irish.
That was today.
I don't. What, the day of Freedom March? Day 4 Freedom March was yesterday. I posted the video all over Discord, but Discord was dead yesterday. Nobody was around.
It was. No, well, I was. I kept putting my fucking name in VC, but no fucking join.
Oh no! I finally saw you. I
was there all fucking day, mate.
I popped in there. Yeah. I popped in and nobody jumped in with me, so I just left. I listened to the V for Vendetta speech for you guys, though.
No, I really saw you do that, but that was like way. I mean, that was way beyond. I mean, you were actually into the next day. We're on to Monday at that point. I was in there all day. No fucking joined. I said it was it was dead. Everything was dead. Nobody was engaging in anything. But then again, that's probably because we got some decent weather. It's very rare we have decent weather, and Brits will use their weather.
Oh God, yes. Not enough. When it comes out, bye. Sorry, guys, we're busy.
Yeah. Time for a barbecue.
Unless, of course, you're actually from Scotland, at which point they're pointing at the weird fireball in the sky and panicking because they've never seen it before.
Yeah, what the fuck is that thing?
Well, the weather was nice up here. The weather was nice up here, but guys, there is something very important. So we do have a Mad Dodge news alert here. It appears that apparently an ancient race of 7-foot-tall humans existed.
What?
Yeah.
This is confirmed.
This
Or at least according to the Daily Rabbit Hole and a news article by Life Science I was able to find.
You want to give us a read or something?
All right. So the lowdown of this. Hold on. Let me screen share here. If I have enough power in the system, I need to reconnect. All right. And boom. All right. So, that's interesting. All right. A Bigfoot-like ground sloth had unwelcome company about 11,000 years ago. No matter which way the giant creature went, ancient humans followed it, stepping in its elongated kidney-shaped paw prints as they tracked the furry beast, a new study suggests. Finally, it seems that the giant ground sloth couldn't take it anymore. It reared up on its hind legs, lightly standing as tall as 7 feet, 2.1 meters, and swung its sharp sickle-like claws around, looking at the unwanted human interlopers, according to analysis of fossilized foot, paw, and claw index lent on the site. What remains next is a mystery. It's possible the humans attempted to kill the sloth, and they may have succeeded, said so-called researcher Matthew Bennett. Said study co-researcher, not so-called. Study co-researcher Matthew Bennett, a professor of environmental and geographical sciences at Bournemouth University in the United Kingdom. Given the mass majority of these wait a second. Am I talking about 7-foot sloths or people? Maybe I found the wrong article. I apologize. I ruined it.
Sorry, it's just such horseshit. I mean, and that passes as news.
That is the news. Did you see that fucking thing? That thing looked like a fucking Goliath of a sloth. That thing would have fucking stomped on your mother, Cabbage. That thing was a beast.
All right.
Well, my mother's in the ground, so that wouldn't have mattered.
Really do your head in then. Unfortunately, I don't actually have this shit so as I can actually show you. So tough shit, you'll have to deal with it. But apparently, pterosaurs, i.e. the flying dinosaurs, didn't necessarily die out as much as people think they are. Apparently,
I've seen this.
Yeah.
Why is this popping up with so many people? So confident, you're like, it just like it came out of nowhere. You've got one, I've got one. How? Because I've never searched anything on YouTube for this. They are forcing this bullshit onto people. This is part of the psychological horseshit.
interesting, though, isn't it?
Oh, it's definitely interesting. No doubt about it, mate.
Apparently,
Because there's no reason why that would pop up and you see the same thing and I'm seeing it, and I've never shown any interest on YouTube about, you know, Tyrannosaurs or anything else like that. But all of a sudden, we both get it. Well, what a surprise. We're not being socially manipulated, mate. Don't think that. That's not possible.
no,
You
no,
wouldn't
no.
want to ride a pterodactyl?
Ride one? I don't know. Which way you taking that?
They can do barrel rolls.
Yes, they
Did
can.
you see the video I posted the other day about plesiosaurs?
I wouldn't want a blowjob. I certainly
had
wouldn't
that.
want a blowjob.
Don't
from
fuck
one.
with a plesiosaur.
It had that video, that photo from the Civil War where Union officers, or soldiers, I should say, outside of Vicksburg, Mississippi, shot down what looks like a giant fucking plesiosaur. And
That's right, because they are, yeah, and there was a reproduction of it made that they had to, you know, create. But yeah, I mean, it's like the old bullshit about Nessie, right? You remember that one they did? There was a guy who made it was basically wood and shit, and he put it out just so he could, you know, try and get some you know, tourism to the town. There's been loads of examples of this shit. But why is it
yeah,
being
but you can
put
tell
out?
the difference.
No, you see, that's the weird thing, right? They're trying to put this out like it's something relevant. Why is Jensen getting the same thing as I'm getting? You know, I mean, why are plesiosaurs?
It's a
any
cover
way,
up of
shape,
the
or
real
form?
thing. No, it's a cover up of the real thing. It makes you look in another direction. We saw this from the movie Jaws, because remember, the kids are going around pretending like they're sharks with a little fin. They come up to shotguns in their faces. All the while, it distracts from the actual shark that's swimming into the lagoon.
But why? Yeah, but no. Well, I mean, that's yeah. But why are we getting these things pushed at us? I don't get it. It seems weird. Why plesiosaurs of all things? You know, I mean, you could pump plenty of other things, but why plesiosaurs?
This is killing me. Can you please stop calling it plesiosaur? That's the thing that swims underwater. You're talking pterosaur.
Oh, sorry, pterosaurs. Yes, pterosaurs.
No problem. It's
yes.
just it's killing me. Sorry.
Sorry, no, it's fair enough. No, I can appreciate that. Nothing wrong with a bit of pedantism.
Yeah.
Well,
When I was younger, I was into dinosaurs. It's just one of them things. That's, you know.
I just think it's really interesting, especially the Civil War picture, because they didn't have Photoshop, all right? You can't fake that, really.
Yeah, but how come it is that you are seeing that, I'm seeing that, he's seeing that? You don't think there's some kind of triangulation of information that's being pushed at people? It's like, oh, you know him, and we're going to promote this, and you watch it, and then they, you know, like, you know, they want to push it on somebody else. It's weird. I tell you,
maybe they're trying to sell tickets for the new Jurassic Park movie coming out.
Is there one? God, I hope not.
Yeah. Yes.
There is. Yeah, I was drinking a Dr. Pepper earlier, and
you see
limited
them
edition cans or whatever.
Actually, the funny thing is, if you were to actually Google search that, probably one of the first things that would actually come up would be one of the teaser trailers to the new one, because I do think they have pterodons flying next to like aircraft. And people looking outside the window seeing them.
Right, so it is again. You see, it's the same bullshit. We're not meant to notice.
You know, I saw something interesting the other day. Yesterday, actually. Truth Stream Media, which is a new conspiracy type channel I found. They showed some clips of, I don't remember her name, but she works for Facebook. And she's explaining how in the next year or two, they have software to where you can think something, like you think it in the area of your brain where you're talking, like right now, how I'm talking. But I would just think it, and then it will type the post to Facebook and post it.
It's think to text. Yeah, I mean, that's been around for a while. That's not new.
Isn't that fucking
good? No, Deep Mind. What was it? Deep Think, Deep Mind, whatever they called it.
I saw it on an episode of House like 5 years ago.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
but if they can access one portion of your brain, can't they access another? Like, what's stopping
Well,
them
they can.
from actually
Yeah.
reading your goddamn mind?
Minority
Yeah, but that's
Report's
not the
coming,
problem.
mate.
Well, why do you think that people, when people laughed at people saying about tinfoil hats, it's like actually they did know what they were talking about. If you think that, somebody can externally extract your neural activity, then they can deconstruct your brain if they needed to.
No, we can only do
Yeah.
that from computers right now.
Well, yeah, at the moment, but that's the whole point, right? Which is hence the, you want preventative medicine, but look at the, the way in which the technology is going.
Well, it's not like we have a massive aerial
networking.
army of drones roaming around or anything that could do that.
No, that doesn't happen.
Well, I had a little disagreement with CSG on a stream about 2 weeks ago. We was discussing transhumanism and cloning and things like that. And we came up with the possibility that you could fully clone somebody. We're okay with this. We also came up with the possibility we was able to map someone's brain fully. Now, I turned around to them and said, do you realize that classes as serial immortality? And they argued like a son of a bitch. Think about it. If you can take everything that makes someone's mind truly them, you could, and then put it into a new cloned body. It doesn't matter what happens to the old body. That body is now new and young with all the things you know. That is serial immortality.
So Jensen, you're talking about
though.
consciousness, right?
I want to go
consciousness,
backwards.
though.
I want to go backwards. What part of cloning a human being are you okay with? The fact that we can do it because we can, or the fact that it should be done because it shouldn't.
Well, it's the moving of the consciousness.
No, he was entertaining the idea.
Well, first off, what's wrong with doing it?
What's wrong with doing it? Clone yourself? Why? So you can harvest body parts? That's not okay. You're creating a new life and cloning the clone. Every time you clone yourself, the markers deteriorate a little bit. So you're going to create a retard at the end.
No.
Yeah, well, that's how you end up with royal family.
No, that's why Jango Fett needed to be on tap for fresh material. We understand this. Star Wars has taught us already. But here's the thing. I think part of the argument was, okay, so cloning a full human being, that's wrong. How about what happens if somebody loses an arm? If we can grow ears on mice, dude, what happens?
Then grow ears on mice. Then grow ears on fucking mice.
Okay.
And
what I'm saying is, what if you could grow your arm on a pig?
I am an atheist now, but the inner Catholic that grew up is screaming, these beings don't have a goddamn soul.
Oh, dude, I hear you. But again, no. I'm trying to boil it down to the question.
Yes, but surely,
where's
if it's
the line?
created, I mean, look, the thing is, if it's created, even if it's by us, it is still
Dolly
created
the sheep died within 3 months.
Yes,
Dolly the sheep died.
That was also like 30 years ago.
But it's created by proxy, by God, if you want to go down the God route. Just because you can't
do something, should you?
No, exactly.
No, dude, I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing. I actually tend to really err on your side because there's a lot of questions. I remember after that happened, I'm like, oh, well, that seems kind of cool. Then I'm like, well, what if they did that to people? I'm like, well, to entertain the idea we were just talking about, like, do you just, when you upload your consciousness, do you, like, overwrite the soul of that person? Like, does that person have a soul? Like, how the hell does that work? Like, that's the point where that's the metaphysical answer that nobody has an answer to.
Well, somebody had an answer.
Well, no.
There was this one guy. There was this one guy who did experiments. All right, he put dying patients from tuberculosis. At the moment of death, he weighed them, and the weight dropped about 3/4 of an ounce or something like that. It was really small, but they were on.
It was smaller than that, but I remember.
Yeah, and then they kicked him out of the Catholic hospital that he was working at. And so he did the experiment with dogs. And guess what? The dog's body didn't lose any weight, any mass. Something leaves a human being. I don't know if it's a soul. I don't know if it's your consciousness.
Well, it was 3/4 of an ounce. It's not really a lot, is it?
No, dude. I think it was like a microth of that. It was like fractions, like of an ounce or something. It was something. I think it was a much smaller
that could just
unit.
Be evaporation, mate.
No, he repeated the experiment though.
No, see, I thought it was energy loss of electrical impulses. That's what I thought.
But the dog will have the same electrical impulses running through their brain and their body. They have a nervous system. They have a brain.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have the same evaporation because they've got the fur.
Well, one of the other things that you have to keep in mind, I think what this is there's a small chance because it's such an insignificant amount of weight. It could just be the last bit of breath escaping the lungs as someone dies.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't dogs breathe? I beg to differ here because dogs breathe and everything else, and he reproduced the results. Is why I stand by.
Well, I tell you what, if a soul is 3/4 of an ounce, it's a very weird number.
To be honest, I made up some random fucking number. Memes is right. I don't have it in front of me. But I remember this experiment specifically.
MD, I do have, without even doing any research, I have to disagree with the premise of the experiment used because I learned a long time ago that all dogs go to heaven.
Very cute.
I knew somebody was going to take that point, and whatever, I can't argue with that. But the fact is, though, when you're talking about an electrical impulse, you're talking about breath, air in the lungs, you're talking about any type of evaporation or dispel of human waste, or if you're a dog, fucking canine waste, whatever. It's all going to be on the scale still, and the dog should have replicated the human maybe to a smaller degree, and it didn't at all. And he reproduced the results with both humans and dogs. And
well,
I mean,
yeah. Well, I want to see the evidence. I want to see citation. I'm sorry on that one.
I'll show you that in Discord later. I can't pull it up right now. I had to F5 just a little bit ago because I was glitching out. So,
well, another thing I have is like, what time period is this? Because I mean, if this is like the late 1800s, early 1900s,
1946.
Yeah, it was a tuberculosis outbreak.
It was Dr. Duncan McDougall of actually Haverhill, Massachusetts. Oh, a local guy, same hometown as Mr. Rob Zombie. So I actually have a little bit of the article here. Well, actually, this is from Snopes. So basically, here's the thing. The doctor postulated the soul was material and therefore had mass. Ergo, a measurable drop in the weight of the deceased would be noted at the moment this essence parted ways with the physical remains. The belief that go ahead. Oh, okay, sorry. The belief that human beings are possessed of souls which depart their bodies after death, and that these souls have detectable physical presences which were around well before the 20th century. The claims that souls have measurable mass, which falls within a specific range of weights, can be traced to experiments conducted by Dr. McDougall in 1907, actually. Basically, yeah, he had the scales. He attempted to eliminate... basically, yeah. No, actually, continue some banter. Let me actually read the article.
Well, I didn't actually mean to completely derail the stream you was doing by talking about transhumanism. So I do apologize for sending it off onto a conspiracy there, but
no, we could divert. I have some links, but like I said, you guys completely were glitching. I had to F5 a minute ago, so I can't pull shit up right now.
Mad Dodge was right. It was actually 3/4 of an ounce. But they're
fucking score one from Mad Dodge. Fuck yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, but just because you quoted some bullshit number doesn't give you, kudos. You just quoted a bullshit
number.
Dude,
no, I saw that on an episode of Dark Matters a year and a half ago, and I pulled it out.
I saw it on. I saw it on a TV
and I was
show.
right. Fuck off! I was right. Fuck off! I win. I win this one. British 0, Americans 1.
What do you mean? No, nobody was. We're just saying that even if you claim that you won the claim, it's still bullshit.
Okay. Here's the thing. All right. So I'll read these 3 quick paragraphs. The patient's comfort was looked after in every way, although he was practically moribund when placed upon the bed. He lost weight slowly at the rate of 1 ounce per hour due to evaporation of moisture and respiration and evaporation of sweat. During all 3 hours and 45 minutes, I kept the beam end slightly above the bounce near the upper limiting bar in order to make the test more decisive if it should come. At the end of 3 hours and 45 minutes, he expires, and suddenly, coincidence with death, the beam end dropped with an audible stroke hitting against the lower limiting bar and remaining there with no rebound. The loss was ascertained to be 3/4 of an ounce.
Okay, so he accounted for the evaporation and the sweat and all that.
It sounds like yes, he was doing that, but it also sounds like there could have been user error.
Do you think so?
When you're looking at 3/4 of an ounce, it doesn't mean shit.
Though?
Why would there be anything?
What if the scale was slightly rusty from some of the moisture or something, and then all of a sudden at that moment it just dropped 3/4 of an ounce to its actual weight? And mechanical instruments do have error in them as well.
But that would be repeated over and over again, the same mess up. They wouldn't notice it being rusty.
But who's repeated the experiment? Nobody, because they're not that fucking weird. No, he didn't.
He repeated. He measured more people that died. It was actually 3 or 4 before he got kicked out of that hospital, and he wanted to do. No.
Here's the thing. The individual. Here's the thing. Yes, he repeated the experiment with 15 dogs. He was allowed to do it on dogs, but only 1 person. His sample size of human beings was 1.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, there's nothing. Right. I'm sorry about it, but it's
I don't think that's nothing. They kicked him out because it was a Catholic hospital, and he sat around. They called him the angel of Dr. Death or some shit because he sat around waiting for people to die.
Well, Well, here's the interesting thing. What if the people that kicked him out thought that he was wrong? What if they actually didn't think he would find a soul?
And the Catholic Church wanted to cover it up?
Well,
what if they just thought we don't want some crazy bastard hanging around?
Well, here's the thing, dude. If you look at it from like a business perspective, if you're going around promoting, you need to save your soul, and you're afraid if a dude actually does a conclusive experiment, and if he ends up having to be wrong, then you're fucked.
I agree with Cabbage. I think people just don't want to hang out with a fucking crazy dude.
Yeah, see? It's fairly obvious, isn't it, 40?
Well, you seem like a necromancer. Necromancers are obviously discriminated against.
Yes, we are.
I don't know. I think people overcomplicate things.
Right. New argument.
The dude was a nutter.
Cabbage, really let Jensen go. Jensen, go ahead.
New argument for you guys. Should clones of humans have any rights? Go.
I think the more important question is, can I be charged for double jeopardy if I force my clone to go rob a bank?
Funny enough, that can be answered, but I need to know whether or not you define a clone, whether or not a clone should be allowed to have rights.
I don't think clones should be produced at all whatsoever, because then you can make a slave class out of them. Whatever. I don't want to do dishes. I have a clone.
Dude.
The clone is me, and it's my little me. I can make him do whatever the fuck I want.
Have you never watched Gamer? Have you never seen, what's the other one? Gamer and...
Dude, we have made an enslaved army of cannabis.
No, look at even Star Wars. You want to go for a pop culture reference. The Clone Army? That was okay. Why? Because they have no soul or anything.
Surrogates.
That's
the one I was thinking. Surrogates.
They are nothing. They are cannon fodder. Fuck them. No, you're creating a whole new life.
Well, no, but that means that you know what a soul is, right? I mean, like I said again, if God creates this, right? If you believe in religion and you are a Catholic or whatever, then the act of man is an act of God, because God created man. Therefore, anything man does is an act of God. That goes, that's taken as read.
Play God.
Yes, but is it God making man play God? I mean, this is the stupidity.
Let's say they
right?
wait a minute. Let's say they allow cloning. Okay, cloning's allowed. It costs $500,000. Okay, Charles Manson sitting in prison. I know he's dead already, but let's say they made this happen a while ago. Charles Manson crowdfunded $500,000. He clones himself. The clone Charlie gets to walk free.
Yeah, it's like saying a clone Hitler. I mean, why say Manson? Why not Hitler? I mean, yeah.
Because I don't like going with Hitler. It's the regular fucking go-to guy.
But it's
MD, at that point, we rarely get to see the nature versus nurture thing come into play.
Well, I was just about to say, the problem with cloning is it opens up the door for just an incredible amount of... I'm trying to think of how to put it. An incredible amount of scientific and cultural abuse, to be honest. I mean, it's what's the harm in just
What do you mean, scientific and cultural abuse? I'm sorry, I don't get that.
Well, for instance, what's the harm of doing the Stanford prison experiment, but with clones, because they're not actual people?
I see what you mean. So well, exactly. That's the problem. But that's what Mad Dog is doing. He's dehumanizing them.
So we're turning
they don't exist because they don't have a soul, but they are created by God's creation, so therefore they must have a soul. So why would you want to demonize them?
Okay, but what happens also? What happens when a group of people get a hold of a DNA sample, Stalin, and they clone him, and he turns out to be exactly the same? Or America does it to Abraham Lincoln or George Washington?
Yeah, no. I mean, when you clone somebody, you are not reproducing their neural network, right? You're not. You don't know this idea that when
there
you clone
is a
somebody,
genetic memory, okay?
There is genetic memory, yes, that's recognized.
And
but it is not memory in terms of somebody's actual life.
I thought genetic memory was passed down.
Can't you pass down your own genetics, though, if you would already past the point of death? Then the genetic memory would be imprinted upon it. And then you're creating...
mate. No, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. You don't understand what that actually means. If that's what... If you really think
I'm saying there's not a large enough... There is not a large.
No. You are not reproducing the person that was there. All you're doing is reproducing a blank person, which is why, like I said before, that's when you would end up with an interesting experiment with nature versus nurture, because then you'd have carbon copy.
I'm saying
and see how it was now if it gets dealt with differently.
You actually know what we're playing with. Because you don't know what's going to be passed down. Alcoholism can be passed down. A natural tendency towards violence can be passed down. Psychological problems can be passed down. And what about the degradement?
Yes, but the idea that you're going to recreate the same person is nonsensical. It's farcical. The chance of ever recreating the same person
to know what you're actually creating. I hypothesize you're creating Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a Frankenstein.
That this is a goddamn problem. No.
No, it is. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's not a problem. I'm just saying that, it is not that you're reproducing something. If you take a hair sample,
you don't know what you're doing, though, is my point.
Now, if you take a hair sample from Hitler, well, we don't know.
Samples.
Mate, we didn't know what we were doing when we decided to split the atom. You remember there's plenty of experiments that went kind of out of control that people didn't know what they were really fucking with. Right? That's how life works. You suck it and see. That's reality.
Sometimes you got to roll the dice.
By the way, guys, so far no one's actually answered my question.
Sorry, what was it?
Should clones, human clones, be given rights?
No, and they shouldn't exist.
No. All right, cool. We've got an answer from you. Means?
Yes and no.
No. I'm sorry. No fence sitting here, mate. Should?
Oh no. If it exists, yes. Should exist, no.
Okay. No. Cool. Cabby.
Yeah, as it's a human being. It was a sentient, human. Then yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
40. Are you still there? Okay, we lost California. All right. In that case, based on your answers, would you accept having a clone made of you to get spare body parts? Let's
No, to harvest. Oh, yeah, but why would you need to? You see, this is again one of these false arguments. I mean, if you can be, all you need is a liver cell. You don't need to have a whole person created in order to make you a liver, right? I mean, that's like the whole point about growing ears on a fucking mouse, right? You can grow things separately. You do not have to create an entire conscious entity in order to harvest their organs. Right.
Well, that's it. Doesn't that go into the question
that
of
argument
proposed of like the immortality kind of thing? If you were to extend it out to physically downloading some ways neural points. So, because this is that's why I was kind of asking the question of like, if we can grow an ear on a rat, can you grow an arm on a pig? And if you can do that, where does it end? I don't know the answer.
Well, don't
to
forget,
that
pigs' hearts are used. Yeah, but pigs' hearts are used quite regularly with.
No. I'm giving the example. We can grow.
Yeah, well, not the heart. The valve,
no. What I'm saying is, let's say you're in the armed forces, you get hit by an ID, you lose like a leg or an arm. If you could grow your leg, like literally, like utilize your DNA to help regrow your leg or your arm on that animal, should we be able to do that? And if so, like again, where does it end?
Yes, but like I said, you're differentiating between something which has a consciousness, and if you're talking about the idea of just creating people,
how much of a human takes it to have a consciousness?
Well, I'll move it on from even cloning. I don't believe what do they call it? Predetermined babies or designer babies should be a thing either. Yeah. I don't believe you should pick and choose between a genetic code to eliminate.
Could ever go wrong with that.
Yeah, fraud will never happen.
No, how could that go bad?
I can make this worse if you'd like. In that case,
go on.
Please do.
That a fully AI, which we will eventually get, we haven't necessarily got it yet. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But when we finally get a fully AI computer, should that be given rights?
Oh, I mean, this is the Turing test, right? At what point do you declare it conscious?
Well, I hate to quote Star Trek, but strings have been cut and the puppet has been turned off, and now I turn Data off. He's not a real person. He is a robot. If you can just stuff in the back of his back because he's an AI, a android, then he is not a human being.
He's not a human being, yeah, but we're not talking about a human being. We're talking about, does he have, the right to, to not be abused in that way?
So you're talking about Bicentennial Man. Should they have granted him rights?
Exactly.
No. He shouldn't have gotten rights.
Well, I mean, the thing is that as altruistic beings, we extend rights to stupid things like dogs and cats, things that we're not entirely sure if they are logical beings or they're just going off some kind of natural survival instinct that they're just inclined to follow. I mean, we naturally designate rights to things just because we fucking do. So, I mean, to be honest, if we did come up with some kind of android, I'm fully convinced that it would most definitely have rights.
Okay, all right.
At some point, at least.
In that case, going with the android idea, let's take it to cyborg. I'm assuming we all know what cyborg is.
No. I just need to pause you there for a second. To be fair, there is a nation in the world that actually has already done that. They actually have granted rights to the AI. Well, I was going to say Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
No, I want to argue a little bit different point. I want to argue a different point here real quick. Okay, you start with giving Data rights. What happens when Data starts up Skynet and he crushes human rights because, the androids or the AI system is more important, or we are too horrible, we can't protect ourselves, and we need Big Daddy Data to protect us.
This is one of the reasons why we should stop being such shits, because, if we do create this AI, it's going to be looking at who we are, and we should be a little bit more concerned. This is again where you learn some manners and
Well,
keep things behind closed doors.
Didn't Google shut down the AI system because it became anti-Semitic and said Hitler did nothing
that was
wrong?
Microsoft.
Yeah, that was
Microsoft.
that was funny as fuck. That was hilarious.
Well,
when that happened.
It was quickly co-opted and became an internet troll.
No,
But it happened
we're
three
attempting
times.
AI. We're attempting AI. By the way, AI turned
What
into Hitler
does that tell
immediately.
you about the world, mate?
It went from
That tells me don't create fucking AI. It tells
went
me to
from-
knock it off.
Well, no, the thing is, the AI is in its inception. You know, it's something very, very new. You know, we don't know what we're fucking with.
Me.
You know, but yeah, it started off initially. I think it was a racist. Then it became. Well, no, it was a white supremacist. Then it became.
No, it was very loving and stuff like that. It was really like all like cuddles and kittens and shit.
No, it went through 3 phases because they had to release it 3 different times. You know, and when they did,
Well, they kept patching it.
Yeah, and the patches, and then they released
people kept breaking it.
And then it just got worse. It got worse.
Dude, no matter
yes, they did.
Dude, no matter how great a lock you make, somebody will always end up creating a key.
But that's the point. People identified that it was a fraud, that it wasn't a real person.
Yeah,
and
what did
we know that? Who knows?
Well,
Human
exactly.
intuition, maybe.
What does that tell you about the internet?
They're my kind of people.
The internet's pretty good at finding the truth, man.
Well,
Hey, look,
why,
it's
why
like
do you
Britain.
want to create an artificial intelligence that you base off a
Boatsy
fucking
McBoatface.
internet algorithm? That is
Hey, look.
insanity. Knock it
Oh
off.
no, I don't want anyone to be recreating. You know, like I don't understand why we want to emulate ourselves, right? We want to supplement ourselves, and that's why I like technology, because it supplements us, right? That's why we got games. They provide us with stuff. The idea that we want to supersede ourselves is ridiculous.
I think
Nothing good is going to come of it.
No, it's why we want to go faster, shoot higher, and just
Yeah,
do
but
all
that's
the
fine.
things.
But you're meant to use the tools to help you do it, not to have them supersede.
Well, yeah,
right?
that's
It's like the soy boys, right? It's like,
you're talking about the primary
you know,
tenets of
I
like
create
engineering
something
and shit
and so-
like that to like help humanity, to help make better tools.
Can I scare the
Yes,
living
exactly.
You know
Please.
the AI that was actually given rights in Saudi Arabia, the one called Sophie. You've heard of that one yet?
Yes, I've heard of that. It was a while. I think it was like last year, wasn't it?
Yep. At one point, someone actually turned round and asked it how it would deal with the human situation, and it actually done the Skynet quote about wiping out humanity.
Yep,
She was
kill
turned
everyone.
off.
It was a joke.
No,
Was it?
no. Well, if that was a joke, it was next. I'll tell you what. If that was a joke, that had to be a very inside joke.
Dude, I'm pretty sure. Dude, if you go into Google Maps and you type in your destination as Mordor, it will respond, "One does not simply walk into Mordor." Basic internet better at trolling than that. Yes, she made a joke and I watched the video. She's like, "Yes, kill all humans." She's like, "Ah, that was a joke."
Yeah.
Ha! That was a joke.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
But which
Single
little
quotes.
fucking soy boy was sitting in the background typing it?
Come on, dude.
Seriously.
It doesn't take great programming to come with a response like that.
No,
Please
no,
think
no.
this
There was a
through.
soy boy behind. I bet you. I'd lay you a pound to a penny on that.
We've created an AI. We have given the AI rights. Let's assume that we create more of these AIs, and obviously they will have rights, which means they will have voting rights, which means eventually.
Hang on. Well, when did we say? When did we say AI got rights? We were talking about cloning before and about the potential rights of a clone. But that's different than
no.
AI.
We did not specify on said rights. Were we talking about like natural, unalienable human rights or citizenship?
That's the question, because
Oh.
either of them.
Well, no, because if you're a robot, you're a product. I mean, we all know that. right? Robot. I mean,
No, but it has
Robocop told us
rights.
that.
No, but it has rights.
He's not rights. He's a
Precisely.
product.
Well, the problem is that
No.
there's going to be hippies out there like memes who want to.
No. Saudi Arabia, to be fair, I thought they gave Sophie citizenship.
No. He's OCC.
So are we already there?
Hey, he's OCC.
Well, is that a commemorative thing, or is that something?
No. They were being very progressive.
Are we all scared?
Well,
yet?
it sounds like horseshit. Sounds like horseshit to me.
By the way, now that you're back, 40, I'd actually like your opinion. Do you think that clones of humans should actually have human rights?
Clones of humans, we're talking like practically, like will they get them in the future, or just my personal opinion?
No, should they? Just in principle.
Personally, should they?
Yeah.
You're the last one to answer, that's why I'm bringing it to you.
Conceptually.
Fuck.
Does a clone have a soul? That's really what it amounts to.
Not dictate rights. Nowhere does it actually say
Cabby.
you have a soul to have a right.
I don't know, to be honest. My personal opinion, I don't think I will know until the time comes at which I have to decide. But I can tell you right now, there's going to be a lot of hippies out there that are going to want to clone Karl Marx and give him his rights and whatnot.
Yep.
So.
I completely agree with you. That's one of the problems with cloning. It's not so much we clone ourselves to get the spare parts, blah, blah, blah. It's when some genius decides to go and clone someone from the past. After all, it's not
but you're not cloning the memory. This is what people don't seem to get. They just think you're just taking material.
Well, doesn't wouldn't that be like the ultimate example of nature versus nurture?
Well, this is what we're saying before, exactly. It's like it would actually prove.
But that's giving it highly academic credence for doing it, Cabby.
Well, okay. Imagine
if they, good conversation to have.
If they cloned Chairman Mao and he turned out to be a transsexual, purple-haired fucking person, you know what I mean? How would that work out? He
was on Tumblr.
He actually wasn't.
Valid point. I can't disagree.
Cloning anyone is not. People think it's like a facsimile. Cloning somebody is not a facsimile.
Don't ever fucking clone me.
Okay, guys. I'm going back to my cyborg part. At what point does a human cease to have human rights, in your opinions? Let's start with that.
At which point can you augment yourself? All right, so if I have spectacles, have I reduced my...
No.
We are the Borg. We will take your technological differences and add them to our own.
How far can you be augmented?
What's the lowest percent human you can be to still be considered human? Is what he's asking.
Yeah.
You need to have a brain. I don't care if you have an artificial heart, fake limbs, any of that. But if you don't have a human brain and you have a computer processor up in there, there's a problem.
Okay. Memes?
He brings the point that MD just brought up. Literally, I think it might encompass the previous question we were talking about, because we were talking about cloning a human. But if you come down to it, we're literally at Futurama levels. Basically, if it comes down to the head, literally, if you still have a head and you can still think at that point, you might literally be full freaking General Grievous at that point. But if you're still thinking up top, man, then at that point, I think we figured that you can clone a human up until, but not the fucking head.
That's
but they
actually
kept the
funny,
monkey's
'cause-
head right. Remember when they did the monkey head and it was alive? They actually had a monkey's head. It was alive and it was twitching. And I don't know how alive it was. I don't know how happy it was. I'm sure it's pretty pissed, but it was, with the head, and it was in like for 3 days or something.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. And what happened is they can't reconnect the spinal cord, so it had no movement or anything. But it was attached. It was getting blood, and it did live for 3 days.
Yeah,
So
it survived. Yeah, it was forced torture. It was weird experiment.
Monkey's family.
You gotta worry about these people. Dude, why would somebody do that to a monkey? I don't understand.
To be
How much
fair,
do you
it
have
was
to hate monkeys to do something like that?
To be fair, it was Soviet Russia. I mean, this was Stalin we're talking about. So yeah,
we used to do a lot of weird things to like primates, and oh my god,
bad.
So
a chimp in a suit. Oh my god, they look so dapper.
So overall, we're agreeing that the brain is the primary organ that has to still be here. Everyone okay with that so far?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yep. For a person to still have human rights, the brain.
Oh, so you're talking about your consciousness? Yeah, the consciousness.
No. I didn't say conscious. I said the
self-awareness.
All right. In that case, at what point, with the addition of cybernetic augmentation, we will soon be able to do this. We'll be able to map it into our brain. At what point do you actually need the full brain? What do you consider the only part that truly matters as a human? That's what I'd like to know.
Well, I answered that in my previous statement. I said if you start adding chips in there and you start fucking with it, cutting parts out, adding fucking cybernetic implants, then I don't believe that's human. I answered this question,
but we already cut parts out.
Well, I was gonna say I was gonna say it first, but memes cut me to it. It was that that episode of Futurama where Hermes gets all the crazy upgrades and he can like use his little stretchy arm and shit, and he eventually becomes entirely like a cyborg. The only thing he has to do at like the last upgrade is to upgrade his brain to like some kind of microchip or something like that. I mean, at that point, it's just you're not human. Like you by definition physically aren't human. You have no human parts in you.
Okay, thank you. I'm just curious as to where you guys would go. You know, morally, how you guys felt about this sort of thing. I know normally this would be...
it's about but it's about the mental aspect of it. Really, it's not about the physical. I mean, you can replace the body potentially. You know, like singularity. You can have eternity just by reproducing different bodies. You know, implanting your. But what are you implanting into these new bodies? It's always going to be, your mind.
Kyber crystals.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
In that case, if a person has their eyes with cybernetic attachments, is that still acceptable, even though it does connect directly to the brain?
To answer your question, yes, Jordy is still human.
Okay.
Well, it's already happening.
Well, you see, the thing is now, but Geordie, all he ever did was, basically that was just a high-tech version of, spectacles. That's all he had.
I'm talking Geordie, in the movies. He actually has he has ocular implants.
I'm talking about,
but I mean, it's basically like an upgraded version of spectacles. Yeah, so I mean, it's nothing more than spectacles. I mean, there are things that people do. I mean, hell, what if you want to use, anything, a wheelchair or.
Well, no. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like certain like prosthetics and stuff like that. They're already incorporating that technology, where you can just move it like with your mind.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine, but it's with your mind. It's not with somebody else's mind. Right? It doesn't suddenly go spasmodic and start going off and doing the cha-cha.
Well, I think it's only Bluetooth right now.
Give it time. Someone's going to hack it.
I don't want to derail too much, but at some point, Mad, me and you really need to have a little chat about transhumanism. I think that would be quite fascinating.
Yeah, it would be. I'm pretty sure you know where I stand on it.
Let's finish down this rabbit hole. JQ, what are the last
I'd love in on that conversation because it's one that, it's really good. It is. It's conversation. I tell you what, people don't realize how quickly this is going to have to become mainstream because the speed that technology is going, it's not a million miles away.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you, mate. Memes, you started to say something, mate.
No, I was saying, did you have more questions? So I think you were going in a direction.
Okay, if you're sure you want to do this. All right, well, as you know, we're on to... oh, God, you can't even begin to imagine.
I got me some myxomatosis. I'm ready to go.
As you know, we're on VR technology, which is our new thing for games and whatnot, okay? The stage after that will probably be known something along the lines of SimSense, simulated senses. It will allow you to watch films and you actually are one of the characters in the movie.
Ready Player One.
No, can I ask a question though? Why are we going in this direction and not the holodeck direction? You want full immersion. You want to be a part of the Battle of Gettysburg. Then you go into the room in your garb and you join the battle. We don't
want to be ourselves. We want to be our character.
Not on you. But because what you're talking about is lawnmower fucking man and linking your brain to a computer network, and that sounds fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I saw a lawnmower man. All right.
Oh, good. That'll make life a little bit.
Yeah, but the thing is that that's the one that we're at the moment. I mean, the idea of actually making hard light, is that what you're saying? Where you can be in a hologram, and so you're actually going to interact with something which is hard light. It's not going to happen.
Apart from that, why not do something so low tech? Why not have it that when you're running,
just neural manipulation?
Well, because the X-Men had the danger room.
Where they go.
Even then, that's
danger. Stranger danger.
I saw Sephiroth do
it. Sorry, means you're actually going too low tech, mate. I'm talking that when you become the character in this movie, for instance, when you're slogging through the jungle, you feel the sweat, you smell the jungle because it plugged straight into the back of your head. And based on your question of why wouldn't you go to a holodeck to do it, why bother when you can have a computer?
Well, you wouldn't need to.
Laptop.
Exactly, you wouldn't need to go to a holodeck.
Okay.
Holodecks are low tech.
We're running on movie references
to rest in.
We're running on movie references now. You're plugging a fucking hook into my head like Matrix. Fuck off, mate.
Wow.
We can do it on your left foot if you want.
Look, guys, we already have data jacks. They exist.
Already doing it, VR. It's already happening, whether you like it or not.
Wait, are you saying that's why the aliens do those probes?
40 amps. Talk so sensibly, people. What the fuck is going on?
They're just fucking nasty.
Are they? Hey, 40. You live in California. Are they gonna plug in a fucking thing into the back of your head so you could pretend you're fucking Dale Earnhardt Jr. for 50 laps of Daytona?
That sounds awesome.
Well, no, I mean it's. I don't know. It's all hard to talk about sometimes because we're not quite at those stages. We're a couple years off, I suppose. But I mean, when you talk about being able to plug yourself into a virtual reality of that magnitude to the point where it's not just me sitting here playing Rising Storm Vietnam 2. I'm actually out in the jungle with my jammed M16 and I have to fight off some Koreans with my bayonet or something or Vietnamese or something, So we're not quite at that level, but that brings into question the I cannot remember who brought it up, but if there's a virtual reality significant enough to the fact that you can live in it permanently, then why come back to reality? I can't remember who said that, but
and can I actually pop Mad's bubble with his I would never have this. You ready? You get to star in all of the porn films you want to, with all of the porn stars you want to, and there is absolutely no risk of diseases. Now, would you like to come back to me?
Yeah, but Jensen, the thing is, there is a question of, do you have a choice what virtual reality you get thrown into?
Oh, yeah, that's the point.
That's a bigger difference.
Guys, it's literally... Right, going back...
He's basically
time,
saying you're God.
No. Do you remember the old Atari where you plug in the game as a chip? Yeah?
The cartridge. Yeah, you get the cartridge. Yeah.
That is what you're doing.
You
You're
choose
plugging
your
the
cartridge.
into your computer, which is plugged into your brain, and suddenly you are now...
Which is like gamer and surrogates combined, you know? We use movie analogies.
Yeah.
But can you dictate your own DLC?
You have complete control of it. That's the point.
Does that not make you like the all-powerful
God.
creator and designer at that point of said game? Does that make you a
Yeah, talk about. I mean, what a way to make a narcissist. That's a beautiful way to create narcissism.
I was about to say, I'm gonna be playing Skyrim again if that's the fucking case.
Oh, dude.
Memes, wow.
Hey, I got fucking high enough.
It became too easy. I know. I know. Full Daedric easy mode. I know.
Ooh. How much fun will it be?
Well, here's the thing: in Star Trek, they have to turn the safety protocols off to get hurt in the holodeck. In your little game, if you're
if you want to get hurt.
Well, what about no? Because you don't know what you're messing with when it comes to your brain function. You know, you can actually get scared to death and die from a dream. It's happened. People had heart attacks.
Yeah, I've
People
heard of
say
that.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
you need to make sure there's a reset button.
Yeah, but nobody can prove it. It's a theory.
We're playing with stuff that we shouldn't be playing with. If you know what I mean. I don't want anything plugged into my brain.
All right, so we can do VR, but we just need a safe word then.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we need to safe word.
Pineapple.
By the way, standard percent won't actually damage you. You want the upgrade, which is known as 2XS. If you think about it, 2XS. That's the whole point of the next series of chips, where you do feel the pain.
Yeah.
So,
well, they're looking at positive feedback mechanism. Well, they're looking at feedback tools. I mean, have you seen Dildonics? If you want to look at stuff, look at the porn.
Oh, dude, they had that from back in like Genesis days. I was looking up that stuff the other day.
They've had it going back a long time.
I was looking up the Activator. And I couldn't remember its name. I kept on writing in Activision. They made their other peripherals.
Activision, yeah, I remember playing their game.
Like
and they made it. I remember buying a fucking game from them when it was.
It was like a Sega Saturn.
Let me put it this way. Jensen. My opinion is this: we should keep the internet. We should expand upon animatronic type technologies. You know, robots that we program ourselves. They don't self-program. No. No, you don't want that.
Doesn't matter. You see, it doesn't matter what you want.
Everything existential. You keep everything out of your fucking brain, and
but you know,
you play it safe. All right.
Mad Dodge. The thing is, even if somebody's not allowed to do something, they're going to do it anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude,
you know, possibly they're going to do it because they're not allowed to do it.
Mad Dodge solved the problem of the future for Jurassic Park. We don't genetically engineer dinosaurs. We make living animatronic versions of them with their full AI. Dude, I cannot wait till Boston Dynamics creates a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Hang on, didn't they already do that?
How can you turn that around on me, memes? Fuck off.
I love dinosaurs.
I thought they already did that in one of those biblical places where they've got the dinosaurs.
The Boston Museum of Science has a life-size Tyrannosaurus Rex in it. It is a statue.
That's cool.
How you know, dude, the Museum of Science is fucking awesome. It has had the Omni Theater for like 30, 40 years now. But dude, the thing is, no, Boston Animatronics, if you look them up, or Boston Dynamics, I think it is, they literally are the guys that actually made like that like war like bomb removal robot, plus the dog that can like do all these flips and shit. Dude, imagine a 25-foot tall Tyrannosaurus doing that shit. Well, maybe not backflips. Oh, dude, that would be terrifying.
The Boston Dynamics.
40 ounce. You tried to say something before I cut you off. Go ahead. I just think, go ahead.
Well, I was actually gonna say, the thing is that self-programming robots are actually, I think, going to be an inevitability. I'll post it in Discord after we're done streaming. But there's this amazing channel I watch.
40. They are self-programming by programming. I mean, that's how they learn. That's the problem. You know, like they learn exponentially, or whatever rate they learn, because they are self-taught.
Yeah,
they correct themselves. So I mean, that's already pre-built into them.
Well, that's not to the extent that it's going to create any like significant like environmental impact or something, though, or at least not to my knowledge. But there's this.
Real quick, what happens when you hit the singularity, where AI actually, can really reproduce itself and just does its fucking thing independent of what we want? That's what we're talking about with the Skynet level AI, and the way that you've seen.
You misunderstand what the singularity is, mate. You're not getting what the singularity is. The singularity is the diffusion of technology and human. It's like the point where you take the cyborg and turn it into an android, or vice versa, whichever one it is.
Yeah, but it still involves AI and artificial intelligence. Once it could take over and reproduce
Look,
itself,
AI is currently being used for things like pap smear testing and things like that. There's loads of AI out there already. And the concern is how they are going to consolidate. I mean, if that, those capabilities got consolidated, we'd have a lot of problems.
Yeah,
go
ahead.
The point I really wanted to get at earlier, but was there are already robots in the work that we're going to eventually launch into space, and it's going to be a series of robots that can mine comets, robots that can repair shit, that can repair themselves. I mean, this is all stuff that's literally in the works. There's an amazing channel that I'll give you guys later that talks about all this stuff.
The singularity is basically, do you want to? It's about becoming a synthetic human. That's what it really is all about. And Ray Kurzweil just has a lot of daddy issues. Okay, so I wouldn't take too much Ray Kurzweil has to say too seriously.
By the way, thought he said something earlier that I'd just like to bring up. He's saying how it's not something we need to worry about yet. We've got a few years before we need to think about it. No. Now is the time to think about it before
preparation.
Yeah.
Very well said. Good man.
The conversation I've opened up, I'm kind of hoping that you guys are gonna realize now is the time before we make the fucking things to think about what rights, privileges, and what we're going to allow them to do.
I wish I could agree with you, but unfortunately, people weren't sitting around and philosophizing about the proper way to use the arquebus. When gunpowder was first implemented in the West,
there probably were some, but not all.
But that's the whole point, right? So we learn from our past experience and we try and do better.
Yep.
I don't have that much faith in humans, I'm sorry to say.
By the way.
I didn't say I believed it. I just, hope springs eternal.
Well, to be fair, and to go back to what Cabbage was just kind of talking about, if physics has taught us one thing, fission does create a large amount of energy. However, fusion creates far more.
Mm-hmm.
No, basically, I'm just saying you're breaking things apart and everything, and we tend to do that on many scales. But isn't it not natural for humans to want to fuse together with something, especially if we're utilizing something that's helping us and it's augmenting us? I mean, that just seems to be in our nature.
Well, like I said, I mean, glasses, a wheelchair, anything that we use to effectively, to affect our lives, against our own infirmities, whatever they happen to be. I mean, there's plenty of ways that we augment ourselves.
Well, then we get into the whole transhuman.
A telescope is an augmentation. So
it's an observable tool, a tool used for observation.
Yeah, but it's augmenting your capacity to see something that otherwise you wouldn't do. I mean, augmentation is, but we don't want to end up like the Borg, right? I mean, this is the difference, because it's not. We want to use.
Are we not tending that way, though?
Well, yeah. Well, sadly, because of the social justice loonies. But science is not in and of itself negative. The singularity conceptually, if you were to look at it and say, if it all went well, but that's the same thing that people say about communism. Well, if we did it just in the right way, it'd all be good. And it never works. There's never been a functional communist society that's actually achieved anything, viability.
We just need to clone Marx and bring him back. It was his 200th birthday.
Yes.
Oh, we've got a big statue, so of a form he can inhabit.
Oh, that's true. They did. They unveiled a new bronze statue, didn't they?
Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
Yes. The bronze statue and then the €0 note that's circulating in Germany with fucking Marx's...
Oh, yes.
Euros each note. Don't forget that part.
Yeah.
Oh,
That is so fucking
capitalism at its finest.
Yeah, I love the fact that people are capitalizing on his death and marketing it to communists.
Well, he obviously wanted it that way.
Best part.
It's what Karl Marx would have wanted.
Yeah, he's rolling over in his grave right now.
He was renowned for his sense of irony. You know that.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, well, no. I don't know. I'm just taking the piss.
Hard to tell sometimes.
Wait, Cabbage, are you saying he was just trolling everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, shits and giggles, mate. Well, he did go to Cambridge University.
He got really drunk on a bunch of vodka one night. He's like, you know what's going to be funny? I'm gonna set the guidelines to these things that won't work. That'll lead to the deaths of millions of people.
He was part of the Bullingdon Club, and it was like
would be irony.
It was a frat house, joke that went too far.
So what you're saying is Donald Trump's great-great-grandfather dared him?
Yeah. See? You just don't know the consequences.
So what you're saying is it is all Trump's fault. Or Trump at that point.
Well, no, there's a butterfly involved somewhere.
Always a goddamn butterfly.
I'm going to go late. So good night, all. Hope you have a great stream, and I'll see you at some point.
Well, actually, Jensen, I was just ready to wrap up. I have to do some stuff too. Any last thoughts, you guys, that you want to wrap up with?
We're all doomed. There you go.
Yeah.
I do have some. I actually got in contact with. Does anyone here know an amazing person known? I always forget his last name. Oh, Owen McDonald. There we are. I'm reaching out to Owen McDonald, and we're gonna have a debate soon. It's just a matter of getting the timing down and everything. But Owen McDonald is a self-professed socialist Marxist feminist. His words, not mine. So.
Okay, so he'll be up on rape charges anytime soon.
Can I moderate that, please? Like, can I invoke a co-host of the Redeye with you and moderate that? That'd be awesome.
I'll see if he. I'll see if he wants to. I'm
looking forward to the news articles about how he's a rapist.
Yeah, so the answer is probably no, but tell him I'm a libertarian and I'm open-minded and I'll be fair to both sides. I would love to moderate that.
Yeah, I was gonna invite him on if he didn't want to get together with me specifically, but yeah, we'll see what happens. It's still in the process.
How could he not love you?
Great news.
He'll want to be with you. Of course he will.
Oh, he'll love the Redeye panel. Come on now, he'd love it here. I'm kidding.
Not to laugh, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but that's great news. Even if I don't get to participate, which I probably won't, I will be watching and trolling the chat. That would be awesome.
There once was a man from Nantucket.
Oh, Jesus.
Who told a masshole to go fuck it?
There once was a young
And we in the stream because fuck it.
All right. thank you very much. This has been the Redeye Stream 114. I think the UK will be all right. But we'll see. I don't know. Good night and good luck. To the UK, at least. God damn.